Welcome to Easy Drift Sleep. Tonight we are taking you to your ancient Babylon journey. If these stories help you sleep, tap subscribe so you never miss your next escape. Find a comfortable position, let the weight of your day go, and allow this story to carry you somewhere beautiful. The first blush of dawn painted the eastern sky in hues of soft rose and muted gold, a gentle promise unfurling over the vast, flat plains of Mesopotamia. From the distance, where the desert's edge met the fertile crescent, a low, resonant hum began to rise, a sound that grew steadily with the approaching light, signaling the awakening of the greatest city in the world. This was Babylon, a sprawling marvel of sun-baked brick and towering ambition, nestled securely on the banks of the mighty Euphrates River, its presence a testament to human will and divine favor. Along the dusty, well-trodden path that led to the city's northern gate, a solitary figure walked with a purposeful, rhythmic stride. Adad-shumu-usur, a young man whose quiet demeanor belied a mind teeming with observations, adjusted the simple linen tunic that clung to his slender frame. A small, carefully wrapped bundle, containing his stylus and a few blank clay tablets, rested securely in the crook of his arm. He had spent the night in a humble caravanserai outside the city walls, rising long before the first call to prayer, eager to begin his day's work within the royal archives. The air, still cool from the desert night, carried the faint, sweet scent of date palms and the earthy, damp aroma of the distant river, a smell that always brought a sense of profound peace to his methodical soul. As he drew closer, the city's formidable outer walls, constructed of baked brick and bitumen, rose like an unyielding mountain range against the burgeoning light. These colossal defenses, wide enough for chariots to turn upon their battlements, were a constant, reassuring presence, a symbol of the empire's strength and the king's unwavering protection. Adad-shumu-usur often found himself tracing the intricate patterns of the brickwork with his eyes, marveling at the sheer scale of the labor involved, the countless hands that had shaped and laid each block. He understood that every brick, every wall, every gate, was not merely a structure but a narrative, a chapter in the grand chronicle he was tasked to preserve. The path widened, becoming a bustling thoroughfare even at this early hour. Farmers guided heavily laden donkeys, their panniers overflowing with fresh produce, bunches of dates, baskets of figs, and vibrant green herbs, destined for the city's hungry markets. Merchants, their faces still etched with the weariness of travel, urged their camels forward, the animals' soft, padding steps raising plumes of fine dust that shimmered in the nascent sunbeams. The air grew thick with the mingled scents of animal, earth, and the distant, tantalizing promise of baking bread. Ahead, the magnificent Ishtar Gate loomed, a breathtaking spectacle of lapis lazuli glazed bricks, shimmering with an otherworldly blue that seemed to capture and reflect the very essence of the sky. Upon its towering arches and along its processional way, mythical creatures, fierce lions, majestic dragons, and powerful bulls, stood guard in vibrant relief, their forms rendered with an astonishing artistry that spoke of both divine power and human ingenuity. Adad-shumu-usur paused, as he always did, to gaze upon its splendor, a silent acknowledgement of the beauty that defined his city. The gate was not just an entrance, it was a declaration, a poem etched in brick and glaze, a testament to the glory of Babylon and its patron goddess. He joined the slow, steady stream of people passing beneath the colossal archway. The guards, their bronze helmets glinting, stood impassively, their spears held upright, their presence a silent reminder of the order that reigned within these walls. The murmuring crowd, a symphony of hushed conversations and the soft shuffle of sandals, flowed onward, each person a vital thread in the intricate tapestry of Babylon. Once inside, the city truly awoke around him. The narrow streets, still cool and shadowed in the early morning, began to fill with the sounds of daily life. The distant clang of a blacksmith's hammer, the rhythmic thud of a weaver's loom, and the rising chorus of voices from the market square, all blended into a harmonious hum that was the heartbeat of Babylon. Adad-shumu-usur navigated the labyrinthine alleys with an innate sense of direction, his destination the grand temple complex where the royal archives were housed. He was a creature of habit, finding comfort in the predictable rhythm of his days, in the careful arrangement of knowledge, in the silent communion with the words of the past. His thoughts, however, were not solely confined to the ancient texts. He was acutely aware of the vibrant life that pulsed around him, the stories unfolding in every corner of the city. He would often pause, discreetly, to observe the interactions of the market traders, the playful shouts of children, the quiet reverence of those entering the smaller shrines. These fleeting moments, these unwritten narratives, were just as compelling to him as the grand decrees of the king. He understood that the true spirit of Babylon resided not just in its monumental structures, but in the lives of its people, in their daily struggles and triumphs, their hopes and their fears. Meanwhile, in a different part of the city, closer to the bustling heart of the market, Enheduanna was already hard at work, her hands moving with practiced dexterity. The sun had barely cleared the horizon, yet her stall was already a riot of color and texture, draped with bolts of finely woven linen, intricately patterned wool, and shimmering silks dyed in shades of deep indigo, fiery crimson, and verdant green. The air around her stall was thick with the earthy, slightly acrid scent of natural dyes, a smell she had come to associate with livelihood and creativity. Enheduanna was a woman of quick wit and an even quicker smile, her dark eyes sparkling with an infectious vivacity. Her fingers, perpetually stained with the vibrant hues of her trade, moved deftly as she arranged her wares, her mind already anticipating the day's transactions. She hummed a low, tuneless melody, a traditional folk song passed down through generations, as she meticulously smoothed a length of fabric, her movements graceful and unhurried despite the rising energy of the market. The market square itself was a sensory explosion. The distant murmur of thousands of voices, the rhythmic braying of donkeys, the insistent cries of vendors hawking their goods, fresh dates, sweet as honey, clay pots, strong and true, all wove together into a vibrant tapestry of sound. The aroma of freshly baked bread mingled with the pungent scent of spices from distant lands, the sweet perfume of exotic flowers, and the ever-present, reassuring smell of the Euphrates, carried on the gentle morning breeze. Enheduanna loved the market, its chaotic energy a constant source of amusement and inspiration. It was here that the true pulse of Babylon could be felt, where stories were exchanged as readily as coins, where the mundane and the miraculous rubbed shoulders. She was not merely a trader, she was a storyteller, a keeper of tales, her melodious voice often captivating customers as much as her beautiful textiles. She knew every gossip, every rumor, every whispered secret that flowed through the city's veins, and she held these narratives with as much care as she did her most precious fabrics. A young boy, no older than her own nephew, darted past her stall, narrowly avoiding a collision with a heavily laden merchant, his laughter echoing through the narrow aisle. Enheduanna chuckled softly, a warm, rich sound that seemed to invite conversation. She watched the boy disappear into the throng, a fleeting image of youthful exuberance against the backdrop of ancient stone and bustling commerce. She had been born and raised within these very walls, her family's lineage stretching back generations of weavers and dyers. She had witnessed the city's transformation firsthand, from the grand, ambitious projects of the previous kings to the current monarch's relentless pursuit of unparalleled glory. The colossal Etemenanki Ziggurat, that house of the foundation of heaven and earth, which dominated the city's skyline, was a constant, awe-inspiring presence. Its terraced levels, reaching towards the heavens, were a testament to the king's ambition and the people's devotion. She had seen it rise, brick by painstaking brick, a monument to the connection between the divine and the mortal. Sometimes, she would cast her gaze towards the distant, verdant terraces of the hanging gardens, a marvel of engineering and beauty rumored to have been built for a homesick queen. The cool, damp air rising from its intricate irrigation channels, even from this distance, seemed to carry the faint, sweet fragrance of exotic blossoms, a whispered promise of paradise within the city's heart. She often wondered about the sheer effort, the countless hours of labor, the ingenious minds that had conceived and constructed such wonders. There was a part of her, the pragmatic market trader, that sometimes questioned the immense resources poured into these grand projects, resources that could perhaps alleviate the daily struggles of common folk. Yet, another part, the storyteller, could not deny the profound beauty, the sheer audacity of it all, the way these structures elevated the spirit and filled the heart with pride. A potential customer, a woman with a discerning eye, began to examine a bolt of crimson wool, her fingers testing its softness. Enheduanna straightened, her smile widening, ready to engage, ready to weave a tale around the fabric, to speak of its origins, its dyes, its potential. For Enheduanna, every interaction was an opportunity, every person a potential character in the grand narrative of Babylon. She saw the city not just as a collection of buildings and streets, but as a living, breathing entity, constantly evolving, constantly telling its own story through the lives of its inhabitants. As the sun climbed higher, casting long, dramatic shadows across the market square, the city truly embraced the day. The air grew warmer, thick with the mingled sense of life and commerce. Adad-shumu-usur, now settled in the quiet, cool confines of the royal archives, dipped his stylus into a small pot of water, preparing to inscribe the day's first decree onto a fresh clay tablet. His mind, though focused on the precise cuneiform script, still held echoes of the city's awakening, the vibrant tapestry of sounds and smells he had encountered on his journey. He understood that his meticulous work, his careful preservation of words, was a vital counterpoint to the bustling, ephemeral life outside. Both were essential, he mused, for the enduring memory of Babylon. And in the heart of the market, Enheduanna, her voice a melodious murmur, began to recount a tale to her new customer, a story of a distant land where the crimson dye was born, a narrative as rich and vibrant as the fabric itself. She knew that these stories, passed from mouth to ear, were as important as any inscription on a clay tablet, for they too carried the spirit of Babylon, ensuring its legacy lived on, not just in stone and word, but in the hearts and minds of its people. The whispers of dawn had given way to the vibrant chorus of the day, and Babylon, in all its majestic glory, had fully awakened. The whispers of dawn had given way to the vibrant chorus of the day, and Babylon, in all its majestic glory, had fully awakened. The sun, a burgeoning disk of fiery gold, climbed higher above the eastern plains, casting long, dancing shadows across the city's monumental walls and the burgeoning structures within. Its light, still soft and forgiving, touched the glazed bricks of the Ishtar Gate, making the lapis lazuli dragons and golden bulls shimmer with an almost living intensity, a testament to the king's unwavering vision. It was a vision that had begun not with bricks and mortar, but in the quiet chambers of the royal palace, a dream whispered into existence by a king who saw not just a city, but an eternal legacy. Shulgi, the master builder, felt the sun's warmth on his face as he stood atop a scaffolding near the nascent foundations of what would one day be the Etemenanki, the great ziggurat. His robust frame, accustomed to the arduous demands of construction, seemed almost dwarfed by the sheer scale of the project unfolding beneath him. His calloused hands, usually gripping a measuring rod or a rough-hewn stone, rested on the wooden rail, his keen eyes scanning the bustling scene below. Thousands of laborious, like industrious ants, moved in rhythmic unison, hauling baskets of earth, shaping sun-dried bricks, and meticulously leveling the ground. The air, already thick with the scent of damp earth and the distant, acrid tang of wood smoke, vibrated with the rhythmic chants of the workers, the creak of wooden levers, and the sharp crack of mallets against stone. Shulgi's face, perpetually smudged with the dust of his trade, was set in a look of intense concentration, a silent dialogue playing out between his practical mind and the immense challenge before him. He understood stone and mortar, the physics of weight and balance, the unforgiving nature of gravity, but he also understood the king's ambition, an ambition that soared higher than any earthly structure. He remembered the day the king had first summoned him, a day etched into his memory with the sharpness of a freshly carved cuneiform tablet. The royal chambers, usually a place of hushed reverence, had hummed with an unusual energy. The king, Nebuchadnezzar, had stood before a vast map of Babylon, his finger tracing lines that were not yet there, his eyes alight with a fervor that transcended mere earthly power. Shulgi, the king had declared, his voice resonating with a quiet authority that commanded not just attention, but absolute loyalty, "I envision a city that will stand as a beacon for all time, a testament to the might of Marduk and the glory of Babylon. A ziggurat so tall it will touch the heavens, its summit a meeting place for gods and men. And for my beloved queen, a garden unlike any ever seen, a verdant mountain rising from the arid plains, a paradise suspended in the air." Shulgi, a man of few words but profound understanding, had listened, his mind already calculating, already envisioning the impossible feats of engineering that such a decree would demand. He had felt a tremor of awe, not just for the king's audacious vision, but for the sheer audacity of the task. It was a challenge that promised to consume his every waking moment, to test the very limits of human ingenuity, and yet, a profound sense of purpose had settled deep within him. Now, months into the initial stages, the scale of that challenge was a tangible, overwhelming reality. The logistics alone were a nightmare, sourcing timber from distant Lebanon, stone from the mountains of Elam, and the countless millions of bricks, each one needing to be molded, dried, fired, and then transported to the site. He watched as a team of overseers, their voices hoarse from shouting commands, guided a team of oxen pulling a massive stone block, its weight groaning against the ropes. The ground vibrated faintly beneath his feet with each slow, deliberate movement. Shulgi knew that every single brick, every beam, every drop of water for the mortar represented a human effort, a story of sweat and toil. He had spent countless nights poring over clay tablets, sketching designs, calculating stresses, his stylus moving with the precision of a surgeon, his brow furrowed in concentration. The pressure of royal expectations was a constant, invisible weight, but it was also the fuel that drove him, the silent promise of a legacy etched not just in stone, but in the very fabric of time. Down below, amidst the organized chaos, a figure moved with a different kind of purpose. Adad-shumu-usur, the royal scribe, his simple, clean garments a stark contrast to the dust-laden clothes of the laborious, navigated the pathways with a quiet grace. He carried a fresh clay tablet and a stylus, his fingers nimble, his eyes observant. His duty was to record, to capture the king's decrees, the daily progress, the very pulse of this grand endeavor. He was a chronicler, a keeper of words, and in this burgeoning city, there was an endless tapestry of events to weave into the annals of the empire. He paused near a group of brickmakers, their bodies glistening with sweat, their hands moving with practiced efficiency as they pressed wet clay into wooden molds. The earthy smell of the Euphrates, carried by the damp clay, was strong here, a primal scent that spoke of creation and sustenance. Adad-shumu-usur watched their faces, etched with effort and determination, and felt a familiar stir of curiosity. He was meant to record facts, figures, the grand pronouncements, but he found himself increasingly drawn to the human stories, the silent narratives of these countless individuals who were, brick by brick, building a legend. He remembered his own summons to the king's presence, a less dramatic but equally significant moment. He had been a young man then, newly appointed to the royal scriptorium, his heart pounding with a mixture of awe and trepidation. The king, his gaze piercing, had spoken not of bricks or gardens, but of words, of memory, of the enduring power of inscription. Adad-shumu-usur, the king had said, his voice softer then, yet equally commanding, the greatest cities, the mightiest empires, can crumble to dust. But words, carefully chosen and meticulously recorded, can defy time. You will be the memory of Babylon, the voice that speaks to future generations. Record not just what is built, but why. Capture the spirit, the ambition, the very soul of this age. Adad-shumu-usur, then a detached observer, focused solely on the accuracy of his cuneiform, had felt the weight of that responsibility settle upon his young shoulders. He had understood the importance of facts, but the king's words had planted a seed, a realization that his duty extended beyond mere transcription. He was to capture the spirit of his era, to immortalize a civilization not just in its grand structures, but in the nuanced strokes of his stylus, in the carefully chosen phrases that would bring the past to life for those yet unborn. He found himself now, not just recording the number of bricks produced or the cubic meters of earth moved, but observing the subtle interactions between the laborious, the shared jokes, the quiet moments of resilience. He saw a young boy, no older than 10, carrying water to his father, his small frame straining under the weight of the clay jar, his eyes wide with a mixture of exhaustion and pride. Adad-shumu-usur felt a pang of empathy, a recognition of the collective effort, the shared sacrifice that underpinned this monumental undertaking. He knew that the king's vision, while grand and divine in its ambition, was ultimately brought to life by the tireless hands and unwavering spirits of these ordinary men and women. He would strive to capture not just the king's decrees, but the echoes of their chants, the glint of determination in their eyes, the very essence of their contribution. Later that day, as the sun began its slow descent, painting the western sky in hues of fiery orange and deep violet, Shulgi descended from the scaffolding, his muscles aching but his mind still racing with calculations. He walked towards the royal offices, a temporary structure erected near the main building site, where he knew Adad-shumu-usur would be meticulously working. The air, now cooler, carried the faint, sweet scent of cedarwood and frankincense wafting from the distant temples, mingling with the earthy smell of the Euphrates. The distant murmur of the bustling market had softened into a gentle hum, punctuated by the occasional braying of a donkey or the distant call of a night watchman. He found Adad-shumu-usur hunched over a stack of clay tablets, his stylus moving with a fluid grace, inscribing lines of cuneiform with an unwavering focus. The soft glow of an oil lamp illuminated his workspace, casting dancing shadows on the walls. Shulgi, a man of action, often found the scribe's quiet dedication a stark contrast to his own boisterous world of construction, yet he respected it deeply. They were two sides of the same coin, both serving the king's vision, one building with stone, the other with words. Still at it, Adad-shumu-usur. Shulgi's voice, though gruff, held a note of weary camaraderie. Adad-shumu-usur looked up, his eyes, though tired, held a spark of intellectual curiosity. Always, Master Builder. The day's events do not record themselves. He gestured to the tablets. I was just detailing the progress on the western wall of the Ziggurat's first terrace. The number of bricks laid today exceeded our projections by a significant margin. Shulgi grunted, a flicker of satisfaction crossing his dust-streaked face. Good. We need every hand, every brick. The king's impatience grows with each passing season. He paused, then walked closer, his gaze falling upon a tablet Adad-shumu-usur had set aside, its surface covered in more lyrical, less numerical script. "What is this one?" he asked, his finger tracing a line of symbols he couldn't quite decipher. Adad-shumu-usur picked up the tablet, a faint smile touching his lips. "This is not for the official records, Master Builder. This is a personal observation. I was attempting to capture the spirit of the workers today, the way their chants rise and fall with the setting sun, the collective will that seems to animate the very earth beneath our feet." He hesitated, a rare moment of vulnerability in his usually stoic demeanor. The king spoke of capturing the soul of this age. I find myself trying to understand what that truly means, to convey not just the facts of construction, but the human endeavor, the sheer will that brings these impossible structures to life. Shulgi listened, a thoughtful expression on his face. He was a man who understood the weight of stone, the strength of mortar, but he also understood the silent strength of the human spirit. He had seen it in the eyes of his laborers, in their tireless efforts, in their unwavering loyalty. The soul of this age, he mused, looking out towards the darkening silhouette of the Ziggurat's foundations, is the will to build, Adad-shumu-usur. It is the ambition that drives us to reach for the heavens, to create something that will outlast our own fleeting lives. It is the belief that we can shape the world, that we can leave a mark so profound it will echo through eternity. He turned back to the scribe, his gaze intense. And for the king, it is also about love. He builds these wonders not just for glory, but for his queen, for the legacy of his family, for the enduring memory of Babylon. Adad-shumu-usur nodded slowly, his stylus tapping gently against the clay. Yes, the queen. I have heard whispers of the king's devotion, how the hanging gardens are to be a verdant testament to his affection, a mountain of beauty to remind her of her distant homeland. He looked at Shulgi, a new understanding dawning in his eyes. So, the ambition is intertwined with love, the legacy with devotion. It is not just about power, then, but about a deeper human connection. Shulgi nodded, his gaze softening as he recalled the king's fervent words about his queen. Indeed, the ziggurat reaches for the divine, a connection to the cosmos, a stairway to the heavens. But the gardens, they are a piece of heaven brought to earth, a paradise for a queen, a symbol of earthly love and beauty. Both are expressions of an extraordinary vision, a desire to create something truly magnificent, something that transcends the ordinary. He paused, then continued, his voice resonating with a quiet reverence. It is a profound satisfaction, Adad-shumu-usur, to see these designs rise from the earth, to watch the king's dream take tangible form. To know that your hands, your mind, your very being, are part of something so grand, so enduring. It is a legacy etched in stone, yes, but also in the very air we breathe, in the stories we tell, in the hearts of those who will gaze upon these marvels for generations to come. The young scribe, usually so focused on the precise recording of facts, felt a profound shift within him. Shulgi's words, spoken with the quiet conviction of a man who understood the very essence of creation, had illuminated a new dimension to his work. He was not just recording history, he was capturing the very soul of ambition, the intricate dance between human ingenuity and divine inspiration, the enduring power of love and devotion. He understood now that his words, etched onto these humble clay tablets, were not merely records, but vessels for memory, carrying the spirit of Babylon across the vast expanse of time. He would strive to capture not just the grand pronouncements and the impressive statistics, but the whispers of the wind through the nascent structures, the scent of cedarwood and frankincense, the distant murmur of the market, the cool, damp air rising from the irrigation channels that would one day feed the hanging gardens, carrying the fragrance of exotic blossoms. He would capture the very atmosphere, the sensory details that would transport future readers to this vibrant, ambitious age. As the last vestiges of twilight faded, giving way to the velvet expanse of the starlit desert sky, a single, brilliant star emerged above the nascent ziggurat. It seemed to hang there, a silent sentinel, watching over the sleeping city. Shulgi, looking up at it, felt a deep sense of peace settle over him. The impossible was slowly, painstakingly, becoming possible. Adad-shumu-usur, his stylus now resting, gazed at the same star, a quiet determination in his eyes. He knew his work was far from over. He would continue to record, to observe, to weave the intricate tapestry of Babylon's story, ensuring that its grandeur, its ambition, its love, and its enduring memory would live on, not just in stone, but in the timeless power of the written word. The city, now bathed in the soft glow of myriad oil lamps, seemed to breathe, a living entity dreaming of its magnificent future, a future being meticulously carved, brick by brick, word by word, into the very fabric of existence. The city, now bathed in the soft glow of myriad oil lamps, seemed to breathe, a living entity dreaming of its magnificent future, a future being meticulously carved, brick by brick, word by word, into the very fabric of existence. Within the towering walls of the royal palace, a different kind of quiet settled, a hush that was both opulent and, for some, profoundly lonely. Queen Amytis, the Median bride, often found herself in the palace's inner courtyards during these late hours, her slender figure silhouetted against the intricate patterns of the mosaic walls. The air here, though perfumed with expensive resins and the faint, sweet scent of date wine, felt heavy to her, a stark contrast to the crisp, pine-scented breezes of her mountainous homeland. She would trace the cool, smooth lines of the polished stone with a delicate hand, her dark, expressive eyes reflecting the distant flicker of an oil lamp, a tiny star in the vast, shadowed expanse of her thoughts. The palace was a marvel, a testament to Babylon's wealth and power, yet its grandeur often felt like a gilded cage. She missed the rugged, untamed beauty of the Zagros Mountains, the sight of verdant slopes stretching endlessly towards a sky that seemed to touch the very peaks, the sound of rushing streams cascading over ancient rocks, and the earthy fragrance of damp soil after a mountain rain. Here, in Babylon, the sky was often hazy with the dust of the plains, the Euphrates flowed with a slow, deliberate majesty, and the only green she saw was in the carefully cultivated date groves or the sparse, formal gardens of the palace, which seemed to wilt under the relentless sun. A sigh, barely audible, escaped her lips, a whisper of a longing she rarely voiced. Her ladies-in-waiting, ever watchful but discreet, understood the subtle shifts in her mood, the way her gaze would linger on a tapestry depicting a distant landscape, or how she would sometimes hum a low, melancholic tune from her childhood. They knew the stories of her journey from Media, a political alliance forged in the fires of necessity, bringing a princess from a land of cool, green heights to a city of sun-baked bricks and vast, flat plains. They saw the quiet dignity with which she carried herself, the grace in her movements, but also the subtle melancholy that shadowed her beautiful features, particularly when the desert winds howled outside the palace walls, carrying with them the scent of dry earth and the promise of more endless, flat horizons. One evening, as the last vestiges of the sunset painted the western sky in hues of fiery orange and deep violet, King Nebuchadnezzar found her in one of these courtyards, her attention fixed on a single, struggling pomegranate tree. Its leaves, though green, seemed to lack the vibrant luster of the trees she remembered from Media, and its fruit, though plump, did not possess the deep, ruby blush she associated with home. He watched her for a moment, his broad shoulders filling the doorway, his regal bearing softened by the affection he held for his queen. He had given her every luxury Babylon could offer, every jewel, every fine silk, every exotic delicacy, yet he sensed a quiet sorrow that even his boundless devotion could not fully assuage. "My queen," he said, his voice a deep, resonant rumble that always brought a gentle start to her, "the evening air is cool. Should you not be within, by the warmth of the brazier?" Amytis turned, a soft smile gracing her lips, though her eye still held a distant quality. "My king," she replied, her voice a melodious whisper, "I find solace in the open air, even here. The stars, at least, are the same." She gestured vaguely towards the darkening sky, where the first pinpricks of light were beginning to emerge. Nebuchadnezzar walked to her side, his gaze following hers to the struggling tree. He understood, in a way that few others could, the weight of expectation, the burden of leadership, and the quiet sacrifices made for the sake of an empire. He had seen the longing in her eyes, a longing for something he could not quite grasp, something beyond the material comforts he so readily provided. "You miss your mountains, do you not, my love?" he asked, his voice tender, devoid of the usual command that characterized his speech. A flicker of surprise, then a profound tenderness, crossed Amyites's face. She rarely spoke of her homesickness, believing it her duty to embrace her new life with grace and strength. But his perception, his gentle understanding, allowed a small crack in her carefully constructed composure. "More than words can say, my king," she confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. "I miss the green, the endless green that climbed towards the heavens. I miss the sound of water rushing down from the peaks, the scent of pine and damp earth, the cool mist that clung to the valleys in the mornings. Here, everything is flat and golden, yes, but so very dry." She looked at him then, her dark eyes filled with an unspoken plea, a yearning that went beyond mere comfort. "I miss the feeling of being small amid something so vast and alive, something that breathes with ancient life." Nebuchadnezzar listened, truly listened, to her words. He saw not just a queen, but a woman, a young woman far from her home, yearning for the very landscape that had shaped her soul. His heart, usually so focused on empire building and military campaigns, swelled with a profound devotion. He had conquered nations, built magnificent temples, and defied the very gods with his ambition, yet here was a challenge of a different kind, to bring the mountains to his queen, to quell the quiet sorrow in her beautiful eyes. He looked out over the vast, flat expanse of Babylon, the endless plain stretching to the horizon, and a daring, almost impossible idea began to coalesce in his mind, a seed of inspiration planted by his queen's poignant longing. Meanwhile, in the bustling labyrinth of Babylon's main market, Enheduanna, with her quick wit and even quicker hands, navigated the throngs with the practiced ease of a seasoned sailor charting familiar waters. The air was thick with the scent of spices, cumin, coriander, and the heady aroma of frankincense from the temple district, mingling with the earthy smell of freshly baked bread and the pungent tang of drying fish from the Euphrates. Her stall, a vibrant splash of color amidst the muted tones of clay pots and woven baskets, showcased her textiles, finely woven linens dyed in brilliant blues extracted from lapis lazuli, rich reds from madder root, and deep purples from rare murex shells. Her hands, perpetually stained with the vibrant hues of her craft, moved deftly, arranging bolts of cloth, haggling with a merchant over the price of indigo, her voice a melodious counterpoint to the cacophony of the market. "No, no, my good man," she laughed, her eyes sparkling with amusement as she parried a ridiculously low offer for a finely embroidered tunic. "This is not for a common field hand, but for a man of discerning taste, perhaps even one who serves in the palace. Look at the stitching, the quality of the flax. Such work demands respect and a fair price." Enheduanna loved the market, its vibrant energy, the endless stream of faces, each with a story etched into their lines. She was not just a trader, she was a storyteller, a keeper of tales, and a keen observer of life in Babylon. She heard the whispers of the city, the gossip that flowed like the Euphrates itself, from the grand pronouncements of the king to the mundane squabbles of neighbors. Today, the talk was of the king's latest decree: more taxes for the upkeep of the Etemenanki, the great ziggurat, which seemed to grow taller with each passing season, a man-made mountain reaching for the heavens. Another layer, they say, a grizzled potter grumbled to her as he passed, his donkey laden with freshly fired amphorae. As if the gods need more bricks to see us. My back aches just thinking of the labor. Enheduanna merely smiled, a knowing glint in her eye. Perhaps the gods appreciate the effort, old friend, she replied, her voice carrying a hint of playful cynicism. Or perhaps the king simply enjoys building. He does seem to have a fondness for grand gestures. She had seen the ziggurat rise, brick by painstaking brick, a testament to human ambition that both awed and slightly bewildered her. It was magnificent, certainly, but it consumed so much, so many resources, so much labor. She wondered, sometimes, if the gods truly cared for such monumental displays, or if they preferred the simple devotion of a family offering a handful of dates at a small shrine. Later, as the sun began its slow descent, casting long, dramatic shadows across the market stalls, Enheduanna packed away her wares, her mind still turning over the day's conversations. She had heard whispers, too, of the queen's quiet sorrow, a longing for her distant homeland. The palace servants, who occasionally ventured into the market for special silks or exotic perfumes, spoke of it in hushed tones, a poignant detail amidst the usual tales of royal extravagance. She pines for the Green Mountains, they say, a spice merchant had confided, leaning closer, his voice low. The king, he tries to please her, but how can one bring mountains to Babylon? Enheduanna had listened, her hands continuing their rhythmic folding of cloth. She understood that kind of longing, though hers was for the simple days of her youth before the city had grown so vast, so demanding. She remembered the small village where she had learned to weave, nestled by a gentle stream, far from the clamor of Babylon. The king's love for his queen was a powerful thing, she knew, a driving force behind many of his actions. But to bring mountains to Babylon? That seemed an impossible feat, even for Nebuchadnezzar, the builder of walls and towers. Yet, a few days later, a new buzz began to ripple through the city, a rumor that quickly solidified into a startling truth. Messengers were dispatched, architects summoned, and the finest engineers of the empire were called to the palace. The word spread like wildfire. The king, in an unprecedented act of devotion, intended to build a mountain for his queen. Not a ziggurat, not a temple, but a living, breathing mountain of green, a terraced paradise that would rise above the flat plains of Babylon, filled with exotic trees, cascading water, and fragrant blossoms, a garden unlike anything the world had ever seen. Enheduanna heard the news from a palace guard, a regular customer who always bought her finest blue linen for his wife. He spoke of the king's fervor, his almost obsessive determination to realize this vision. He wants it to reach the sky, Enheduanna, the guard exclaimed, his eyes wide with a mixture of awe and disbelief. With trees from distant lands, and water flowing upwards as if by magic. A mountain of green, right here in Babylon. Enheduanna paused, a bolt of crimson silk draped over her arm, her hand still. A mountain of green. The sheer audacity of it, the colossal ambition. Her initial skepticism, honed by years of witnessing grand royal projects that often brought more hardship than joy to the common people, was momentarily overshadowed by a flicker of wonder. To bring the green mountains of Media to the heart of Babylon, for the love of a queen, it was a tale worthy of her own storytelling, a legend in the making. She pictured it in her mind's eye, terraces rising, lush with foliage, a stark, vibrant contrast to the golden brick and dusty plains. It was a dream, a magnificent, impossible dream, yet the king of Babylon was known for making the impossible a reality. Back in the palace, Nebuchadnezzar, now consumed by this grand vision, spent hours with his architects and engineers. He paced the vast halls, his mind alight with plans, his voice booming with instructions. "I want verdant slopes, not flat terraces," he commanded, gesturing expansively towards a detailed clay model laid out on a large table. "I want trees that touch the clouds, and flowers that bloom in every season. And water, a constant flow of water, as if a mountain spring has burst forth in the heart of our city." The engineers, seasoned men who had overseen the construction of massive walls and intricate irrigation systems, exchanged nervous glances. The concept was revolutionary, defying the very laws of nature as they understood them. To lift water to such heights, to sustain an entire ecosystem of foreign plants in Babylon's arid climate, to create artificial mountains that would not crumble under their own weight, it was a monumental undertaking, fraught with unprecedented challenges. Yet, they saw the fierce determination in their king's eyes, the unwavering resolve born of his love for Amytis. They knew that failure was not an option. Amytis, observing from a distance, watched the flurry of activity with a mixture of awe and trepidation. She saw the king's passion, the way his eyes glowed with a new purpose. She understood that this was not merely a construction project, but an act of profound love, a testament to his desire to soothe her longing. Her heart, once heavy with unspoken sorrow, began to lighten, a fragile bud of hope unfurling within her. She would walk through the courtyards, now bustling with scribes and overseers, and imagine the whispers of wind through unseen leaves, the scent of unseen blossoms, the cool spray of unseen water. The thought of it, the sheer, audacious beauty of it, filled her with a quiet sense of wonder. The city of Babylon, from its grandest palace to its busiest market, began to hum with a new energy. The construction of the hanging gardens, as the whispers now called them, became the talk of every street corner, every marketplace, every household. It was a project that captured the imagination, a tangible manifestation of love and ambition on an unimaginable scale. Enheduanna, at her stall, found herself drawn into the discussions, listening to the various theories about how such a marvel could be built. Some spoke of giant water screws, others of complex systems of pumps and channels. The sheer ingenuity required was staggering. She saw the convoys of cedarwood arriving from Lebanon, the massive stone blocks being ferried down the Euphrates from distant quarries, the endless lines of laborers, their bodies gleaming with sweat, their chants echoing across the plains. She watched as the first foundations were laid, massive platforms of stone and bitumen, designed to support the immense weight of soil and water. It was a spectacle, a living testament to the human spirit's capacity for creation, driven by a king's love and a queen's quiet longing. Amytis, now more frequently seen in the company of her husband, would stand with him on the palace rooftops, looking out at the burgeoning construction site. The scale of it was breathtaking, a testament to his boundless power and his deep affection for her. She would place a hand on his arm, a gesture of profound gratitude that spoke more eloquently than any words. The melancholy in her eyes began to recede, replaced by a soft glow of anticipation, a burgeoning sense of belonging. The flat, golden landscape of Babylon was slowly, miraculously, beginning to transform, to rise, to green, all for her. The seed of inspiration, planted by her quiet sorrow, was now blossoming into the most extraordinary garden the world would ever know, a living monument to love, ingenuity, and the enduring power of a dream. The city, once a source of her quiet despair, was now becoming a canvas for a miracle, a place where the mountains of her memory would finally find their home. The city, once a source of her quiet despair, was now becoming a canvas for a miracle, a place where the mountains of her memory would finally find their home. King Nebuchadnezzar, his heart swelled with a fierce, tender resolve, knew that love alone would not raise mountains of green in the arid plains of Babylon. He understood that his deep affection for Amytis, while the spark, required the relentless fire of human ingenuity and the unyielding strength of his empire to manifest. He summoned Shulgi, his master builder and royal architect, a man whose hands bore the permanent marks of stone and whose mind was a labyrinth of practical solutions. Shulgi arrived at the royal palace, his usual dust-smudged tunic replaced by a cleaner, though still functional, garment, his eyes bright with the anticipation of a new challenge. He bowed low, his broad shoulders hinting at the immense physical and mental burdens he routinely carried. "Shulgi," the king's voice boomed, yet softened by an underlying earnestness, "I have a task for you, one that will etch your name into the very fabric of time, a monument to both my love and your unparalleled skill." Shulgi listened intently as the king described his vision, a mountain, not of rock, but of living green, rising from the flat earth of Babylon, a verdant paradise for his queen, Amytis. He spoke of cascading terraces, of exotic trees reaching for the heavens, of flowers blooming in perpetual spring, all fed by the mighty Euphrates itself. Shulgi's mind, ever practical, immediately began to grapple with the enormity of the request. He pictured the immense weight of soil, the intricate network of water channels, the sheer scale of construction required to lift such a vast garden hundreds of feet into the air. His brow furrowed, not in doubt, but in intense concentration, already calculating, already sketching invisible diagrams in the air before him. He knew this would be a project unlike any before, even grander than the Etemenanki Ziggurat, for it defied nature itself. Meanwhile, Adad-shumu-usur, the young royal scribe, found himself increasingly drawn to the unfolding drama. His duties often kept him within the quiet confines of the scribal chambers, meticulously recording decrees, tributes, and astronomical observations onto clay tablets. Yet, the whispers of the king's new, audacious project had reached even his secluded corner of the palace. He heard tales of architects poring over ancient texts, of engineers debating the strength of different timbers, of masons discussing new mortar recipes. A profound curiosity stirred within him, a desire not just to record the fact of the gardens, but to capture the spirit of their creation. He began to seek out opportunities to observe, positioning himself discreetly near the bustling construction sites that were beginning to spring up across the city. He saw Shulgi, a man transformed, his usual pragmatic demeanor now infused with an almost feverish intensity. Shulgi, for his part, plunged into the work with a zeal that bordered on obsession. His days began before the first hint of dawn, his oil lamp casting long, dancing shadows across his scrolls as he meticulously drew designs, calculated stresses, and planned logistics. He gathered his most trusted engineers and master craftsmen, their faces a mixture of awe and trepidation as he unveiled the king's vision. "We will build a mountain," he declared, his voice resonating with authority, "a mountain of life, sustained by the very breath of the river." The first challenge was foundational. The immense weight of the proposed gardens, with their layers of soil, water, and stone, demanded an unprecedented substructure. Shulgi envisioned a series of massive stone arches, rising tier upon tier, forming a hollow, yet incredibly strong, core. He dispatched teams of surveyors to map the chosen site near the palace, a vast expanse of open land that would soon be transformed. He personally oversaw the digging of the foundations, ensuring that the trenches were deep and wide enough to support the colossal weight above. Thousands of laborious, their bodies glistening with sweat under the relentless Babylonian sun, toiled tirelessly, their picks and shovels rhythmically biting into the earth. The air filled with the grunts of exertion, the clatter of tools, and the rhythmic chants that helped coordinate their efforts. Adad-shumu-usur, observing from a respectful distance, noted the sheer scale of the operation. He saw the precision with which Shulgi directed his men, the way he would kneel in the dust, tracing lines with his finger, explaining complex structural principles to a foreman with simple, clear gestures. He recorded the types of stone being quarried from distant mountains, durable limestone and gleaming basalt, and the innovative methods being devised to transport these massive blocks across the plains and up the rising structure. He documented the careful mixing of mortar, a special blend of bitumen and crushed brick, designed to be impervious to water, a crucial detail for a structure meant to hold vast quantities of irrigated soil. The most daunting engineering feat, however, was the irrigation system. How to lift the immense volume of water from the Euphrates hundreds of feet into the air against gravity and then distribute it evenly across multiple terraces. Shulgi spent weeks, then months, locked away with his most brilliant minds, poring over ancient texts, experimenting with various mechanisms. He considered water wheels, but their reach was limited. He pondered complex systems of levers and counterweights. Finally, a solution began to coalesce in his mind, inspired by the very ingenuity of nature itself, a giant Archimedean screw, or perhaps a series of them, powered by oxen or slaves, endlessly drawing water upwards through a series of interconnected reservoirs. He sketched the design on a large clay tablet, his stylus moving with confident strokes. The water would be drawn from the Euphrates into a primary reservoir at the base of the gardens. From there, a series of colossal screws, housed within protective towers, would lift the water to the first terrace, then to the second, and so on, until it reached the very summit. From the highest point, a network of lead-line channels, carefully sloped, would distribute the life-giving water across each terrace, allowing it to cascade downwards, nourishing every plant, every flower, before finally returning to the river. It was an audacious plan, requiring immense power and meticulous construction, but Shulgi believed it was achievable. Amytis, though she rarely visited the bustling construction site, felt the subtle shift in the city's energy. The air, once filled with the familiar smells of dust and baking bread, now carried the faint scent of freshly cut timber and the metallic tang of tools. From her palace windows, she could see the skeletal framework of the gardens beginning to rise, a testament to Nebuchadnezzar's unwavering devotion. She would often sit by the window, her dark eyes gazing at the burgeoning structure, a quiet smile gracing her lips. The melancholy that had once clouded her spirit began to dissipate, replaced by a gentle hope, a burgeoning sense of belonging. She imagined the cool, damp air that would one day rise from those terraces, carrying the fragrance of exotic blossoms, a scent that would remind her of home, yet be distinctly Babylonian. One afternoon, Nebuchadnezzar, eager to share the progress with his queen, led her to a specially constructed viewing platform overlooking the site. Shulgi, his face streaked with dust, his eyes alight with pride, met them there. He gestured towards the rising edifice, explaining the complex engineering in terms that even Amytis could understand. He spoke of the massive stone pillars, the ingenious irrigation system, the sheer scale of the undertaking. Amytis listened, her hand resting gently on Nebuchadnezzar's arm, her gaze sweeping across the vast construction. She saw not just stone and timber, but the promise of life, a dream taking tangible form. She turned to Shulgi, her eyes conveying a profound gratitude that needed no words. He bowed his head, feeling a deep satisfaction that transcended the physical exhaustion. The construction continued for years, a relentless symphony of human effort and mechanical ingenuity. Thousands of skilled artisans, stonemasons, carpenters, metalworkers, potters, converged on Babylon, drawn by the king's grand vision and the promise of steady work. The city hummed with an unprecedented industry. Caravans arrived daily, laden with exotic timbers from Lebanon, precious metals from distant mines, and, most importantly, countless varieties of seeds and saplings from across the empire and beyond. Shulgi personally supervised the selection of every plant, ensuring that only those capable of thriving in Babylon's climate, with the aid of constant irrigation, were chosen. He envisioned terraces overflowing with date palms, fig trees, pomegranates, and vibrant flowering shrubs, all carefully arranged to create a harmonious, natural landscape. Adad-shumu-usur, now a constant presence at the site, filled countless clay tablets with his observations. He documented the daily routines of the workers, the challenges they faced, the ingenious solutions they devised. He recorded the names of the master craftsmen, ensuring their contributions would not be forgotten. He wrote of the sheer determination etched on Shulgi's face, the unyielding spirit that drove him forward despite setbacks. There were indeed setbacks, a sudden collapse of a scaffolding section, a miscalculation in a water channel, a particularly harsh winter that slowed progress. But each time, Shulgi, with his practical mind and unwavering resolve, found a way to overcome the obstacle, learning from each challenge and refining his methods. Adad-shumu-usur saw how these challenges, rather than breaking the spirit of the builders, seemed to forge a stronger bond between them, a shared sense of purpose in the face of the impossible. He observed a particular incident where a massive stone block, intended for one of the highest terraces, slipped from its ropes during hoisting. A collective gasp rose from the workers below. For a terrifying moment, it seemed destined to crash, causing untold damage and injury. But Shulgi, with a roar that cut through the chaos, directed a team of men to quickly adjust a series of count ropes and levers he had foresightedly installed as a safety measure. With a groan of straining timber and the coordinated effort of dozens of men, the block was slowly, painstakingly, brought back under control and secured. Adad-shumu-usur recorded the incident in vivid detail, noting the quick thinking and the meticulous planning that had averted disaster. He realized then that Shulgi's genius lay not just in grand design, but in the countless small, practical details that ensured safety and success. As the years passed, the gardens began to take on their intended form. The stone terraces, once dark and grey, were slowly covered with layers of rich, imported soil. The intricate network of lead-line channels snaked across the levels, ready to carry the life-giving water. The colossal Archimedean screws, housed within their protective towers, stood ready, their massive wooden mechanisms gleaming with oil. The air, once dominated by the sounds of construction, now began to carry the faint, sweet scent of newly planted saplings and freshly turned earth. Amytis, now a frequent visitor to the lower terraces, would walk amongst the young plants, her fingers gently tracing the delicate leaves. She watched as gardeners, under Shulgi's careful instruction, painstakingly nurtured each seedling, ensuring its survival. She saw the first blossoms appear, vibrant splashes of color against the green, and her heart swelled with a joy she hadn't felt since leaving her Median homeland. The gardens were not just a physical structure, they were a living, breathing testament to love, perseverance, and the boundless potential of human endeavor. Nebuchadnezzar, seeing the transformation in his queen, felt a profound sense of accomplishment. His ambition had been fueled by love, and now, that love was blossoming anew, reflected in the verdant splendor rising from his city. He often walked with Amytis through the lower levels, holding her hand, listening to her soft exclamations of delight as she discovered a new bloom or a particularly fragrant shrub. The distant murmur of the bustling market, the cries of vendors, the braying of donkeys, all seemed to fade into a gentle background hum, allowing the rustling of leaves and the soft gurgle of water to dominate. Adad-shumu-usur, now a seasoned chronicler, understood that he was witnessing something truly extraordinary. He was not just recording history, he was documenting the birth of a legend. He saw how the gardens, even in their unfinished state, had begun to change Babylon itself. The city, already grand, now possessed a unique wonder, a symbol of its power, its wealth, and its king's devotion. He wrote of the sheer audacity of the dream, the meticulous planning, the tireless labor, and the ingenious solutions that had turned an impossible vision into a breathtaking reality. He knew that generations to come would speak of these gardens, not just as a marvel of engineering, but as a testament to the enduring power of human spirit, a green heart beating in the desert. As the final touches were being applied, as the last saplings were planted on the highest terrace, a sense of quiet anticipation settled over Babylon. The air was thick with the scent of cedarwood and frankincense wafting from nearby temples, mingling harmoniously with the earthy smell of the Euphrates and the delicate perfume of exotic flowers. The cool, damp air, now rising from the intricate irrigation channels, carried the promise of perpetual spring. Shulgi, standing atop the highest terrace, looked out over his creation, his face etched with fatigue but his eyes shining with triumph. Below him, the vast city stretched, a tapestry of brick and clay, but his gaze lingered on the vibrant green expanse he had conjured from nothing. He felt the immense weight of his legacy, not in stone, but in the living, breathing beauty that surrounded him. Amytis, standing beside Nebuchadnezzar, reached out and touched a delicate, unfamiliar blossom. A tear, not of sorrow but of profound joy, tracked a path down her cheek. The mountains of her memory had found their home, not in a distant land, but here, in the heart of Babylon, a testament to a love that had moved mountains, literally and figuratively. The gardens, a symphony of human ingenuity and natural splendor, stood ready to welcome the world, a beacon of hope and a symbol of what could be achieved when ambition was tempered by devotion and dreams were built with unwavering determination. The stars, which had always seemed so distant and cold in the desert sky, now felt closer, reflected in the shimmering pools of water on the highest terraces, as if acknowledging the earthly marvel that reached up to meet them. The impossible dream had become a magnificent, living reality. The impossible dream had become a magnificent, living reality, yet for Shulgi, the master builder, the true work was never truly finished, it merely transformed, evolving from the monumental exertion of construction into the meticulous art of preservation and the quiet, profound joy of beholding what he had wrought. He often found himself, in the hush of the pre-dawn hours, ascending the broad, ceremonial steps of the Ate-Menanke ziggurat, his calloused hands tracing the cool, smooth surface of the baked bricks, each one a testament to countless hours of labor and the collective will of 1,000 souls. The air, still holding the crisp coolness of the desert night, carried the faint, sweet scent of cedarwood from the temple at the summit, mingling with the earthy aroma of the Euphrates, which flowed, unseen but ever present, at the city's edge. From the highest terrace, where the temple of Marduk stood, a sanctuary of deep reverence and celestial observation, Shulgi would gaze eastward, waiting for the first blush of dawn to paint the horizon. His robust frame, usually a whirlwind of purposeful motion, was momentarily still, his shoulders, broad from years of hauling stone and directing laborious, relaxed just slightly. The city below, a sprawling tapestry of mud brick homes, bustling markets, and grand palaces, was still largely asleep, a soft murmur rising from its slumbering heart. But above, the stars, those ancient, unwavering guides, burned with an intensity that always humbled him. He knew their patterns, their names, their supposed influences, not from scholarly texts, though he respected the priests who pored over such things, but from countless nights spent under their watchful gaze, calculating angles, charting foundations, and praying for clear skies to guide his workers. It was during one such solitary vigil, as the deepest indigo of night began to yield to the first faint streaks of rose and gold, that Shulgi felt a familiar presence beside him. It was Nabi-Nadus, the king, a man whose ambition was as vast as the desert sky, yet whose spirit often seemed to seek solace in the very structures Shulgi had brought to life. The king, cloaked in a simple, unadorned robe, stood quietly for a long moment, his gaze fixed on the celestial tapestry above, his breath a soft, rhythmic whisper in the chill morning air. Shulgi, ever respectful, offered a slight bow of his head, but did not speak, knowing that the king often sought these moments of shared silence, a quiet communion with the cosmos that transcended the daily clamor of court and kingdom. Another night passes. "Shulgi," the king finally said, his voice a low, resonant hum, and the stars continue their silent procession, indifferent to our earthly triumphs and tribulations. He paused, then turned his gaze from the heavens to the sprawling city below, his eyes, usually sharp with command, now softened with a contemplative light. "Yet, we reach for them, do we not? We build these towers, these gardens, not just for ourselves, but as an offering, a bridge between the mortal and the divine." Shulgi nodded slowly, his gaze following the king's, sweeping over the intricate network of irrigation channels that snaked through the hanging gardens, now a lush, vibrant emerald against the muted tones of the city. He remembered the sheer scale of that undertaking, the endless calculations for water pressure, the ingenious system of Archimedean screws, the monumental effort to lift tons of fertile soil to such dizzying heights. There had been moments, in the thick of it, when the task had seemed truly insurmountable, when the weight of the king's expectations, coupled with the relentless challenges of engineering, had pressed down on him like the very stone he shaped. He recalled the days of relentless sun, the dust-choked air, the weary faces of his laborers, and his own gnawing doubts, which he had fiercely suppressed, knowing that any sign of hesitation from him would ripple through the entire workforce. "Indeed, Your Majesty," Shulgi replied, his voice a gravelly murmur, "we seek to understand the patterns they weave, to find our place within their grand design. The ziggurat, with its 7 levels, each dedicated to a celestial body, is our highest prayer, our most profound question etched in brick and mortar." He gestured towards the temple at the summit, its walls adorned with lapis lazuli and gold, shimmering faintly in the nascent light. "And the gardens, they are our earthly paradise, a mirror of the heavens, a place where the divine breath can be felt in the rustle of leaves and the scent of blossoms." The king turned to him then, a faint smile playing on his lips, a rare expression of genuine warmth that softened the regal lines of his face. "You speak with the heart of a poet, Shulgi, yet your hands are those of a builder. It is a rare combination, and one that has served Babylon well." He gestured towards the eastern horizon, where the first sliver of the sun was now visible, painting the clouds in fiery hues. "Do you remember, Shulgi, the day I first spoke of the gardens?" The advisors scoffed, the scribes murmured about impossible logistics, and even some of the priests questioned the audacity of such a project. They spoke of the immense cost, the sheer impracticality of bringing a mountain forest to the desert. Shulgi chuckled, a deep, rumbling sound that seemed to shake off the last vestiges of the night's chill. "I remember, Your Majesty. I remember their faces, pale with apprehension, their voices filled with doubt. And I remember my own initial calculations, which seemed to confirm their fears. The sheer volume of water required, the weight of the soil, the need for a structure that could withstand both the elements and the constant flow of water, it was a puzzle of unprecedented scale." He paused, his gaze drifting over the intricate terraces of the gardens, now beginning to glow with the morning light. "But then, I walked the riverbanks, I studied the ancient irrigation systems of Sumer, I spoke with the farmers who coaxed life from the arid land. And I looked to the stars, Your Majesty, not for omens, but for inspiration. The celestial spheres, moving in perfect, intricate harmony, suggested that even the most complex systems could be made to function with precision and grace." he recounted, not for the first time, but with a renewed sense of wonder, the countless hours he had spent in his workshop, surrounded by clay tablets inscribed with diagrams, by miniature models of water wheels and pumps, by the scent of sawdust and the faint metallic tang of his tools. He described the sleepless nights spent wrestling with equations, the moments of sudden insight that felt like divine inspiration, the painstaking process of testing and retesting, of failure and refinement. He spoke of the challenge of finding the right materials, the waterproof bitumen that sealed the terraces, the massive stone beams that supported the immense weight, the ingenious system of drainage that prevented waterlogging while ensuring every plant received its due. The greatest challenge, Shulgi continued, his voice growing more animated, was not simply moving the water, but ensuring its continuous flow, defying gravity itself. We built a series of reservoirs at each level, fed by a chain of bucket pumps, each one carefully calibrated to lift the water to the next. It was a symphony of engineering, Your Majesty, each part dependent on the other, working in perfect unison. He paused, a flicker of pride in his eyes, quickly tempered by his innate humility. And the trees, the exotic trees brought from distant lands, the cedars of Lebanon, the date palms, the fragrant jasmine, each one required careful nurturing, a specific blend of soil and water, a microclimate created within the desert itself. The king listened intently, his gaze fixed on Shulgi, a deep respect evident in his steady regard. You face logistical nightmares, Shulgi, the likes of which no builder before you had ever confronted. The sheer scale of the workforce, the coordination of materials, the constant threat of collapse during construction, yet you persevered. What drove you, beyond my royal command? Shulgi considered the question for a moment, his gaze once again drawn to the rising sun, its golden rays now illuminating the entire city, making the polished bricks of the Ishtar Gate gleam like jewels. It was the vision, Your Majesty, he finally said, his voice soft but firm. The vision of what Babylon could be. A city not just of power and wealth, but of beauty, of knowledge, of a profound connection to the divine. I saw the gardens as a living prayer, a testament to human ingenuity reaching for the heavens. And the ziggurat, not just a temple, but an observatory, a place where the priests could chart the stars with unparalleled precision, unraveling the mysteries of the cosmos, bringing that wisdom back to guide our people. He thought of the priests, the Chaldean astronomers, who now spent their nights on the Ziggurat summit, their eyes fixed on the constellations, their minds grappling with the movements of the planets. He had often watched them, their faces illuminated by the flickering light of oil lamps, their hands moving over clay tablets, recording observations, predicting eclipses, seeking patterns in the seemingly chaotic dance of the heavens. He knew that the precision of his construction, the stability of the terraces, the clear sightlines from the temple, all contributed to their work, allowing them to gather knowledge that would shape the destiny of Babylon. It was a different kind of building, he mused, building knowledge, building understanding, but no less vital than building walls and towers. And the legacy, Your Majesty, Shulgi continued, his voice imbued with a quiet passion. To build something that would endure, that would speak of our time, our devotion, our ambition, long after we are dust. To leave a mark upon the earth that mirrors the enduring patterns of the stars. He gestured broadly, encompassing both the ziggurat and the hanging gardens, which now shimmered with dew in the morning light. These structures are more than just stone and brick, they are the embodiment of our collective spirit, our aspiration to touch the divine, to create beauty in the heart of the desert. They are a promise to future generations, a testament to what can be achieved when we dare to dream beyond the limits of what seems possible. The king placed a hand on Shulgi's shoulder, a rare gesture of personal esteem. And you, Shulgi, are the architect of that dream, the one who translated ambition into reality. You have not merely built structures, you have built a legacy, not just for me, but for Babylon itself, and for all who will gaze upon these marvels for centuries to come. His gaze swept over the city, now awakening with the sounds of daily life, the distant braying of donkeys, the faint cries of vendors setting up their stalls, the rhythmic clang of a blacksmith's hammer. The world will remember Babylon for these wonders, Shulgi, and for the wisdom that flows from them, wisdom gleaned from the very stars you helped us reach. As the sun climbed higher, casting long shadows across the city, Shulgi felt a profound satisfaction settle within him, a quiet warmth that transcended the physical weariness of his years of labor. It was not the fleeting pride of accomplishment, but a deeper, more enduring sense of purpose fulfilled. He had faced the impossible, wrestled with the earth and the elements, and emerged victorious, not through brute force alone, but through ingenuity, perseverance, and an unwavering belief in the power of human spirit to connect with the divine. The stars, now fading into the brilliant blue of the morning sky, seemed to wink in acknowledgement, their ancient wisdom reflected not just in the priest's scrolls, but in the very stones of Babylon, a city that had dared to reach for them and, in doing so, had found its own enduring light. The city, vibrant and alive, stretched out below them, a testament to human will and divine inspiration, a place where the earthly and the celestial danced in harmonious, eternal embrace. The city, vibrant and alive, stretched out below them, a testament to human will and divine inspiration, a place where the earthly and the celestial danced in harmonious, eternal embrace. As the first golden rays of dawn kissed the uppermost tiers of the Etemenanke ziggurat, painting its glazed bricks in hues of rose and amethyst, a gentle stir began to ripple through the sleeping city. From her private terrace, high within the royal palace, Queen Amytis watched the awakening with a quiet awe that had, over the years, replaced her initial, profound melancholy. The cool morning air, still carrying the faint, sweet scent of night-blooming jasmine from the terraces below, brushed against her cheek, a familiar caress that no longer felt alien. She wore a robe of deep sapphire silk, its median weave a subtle nod to her distant homeland, yet her heart now beat in rhythm with the pulse of Babylon. Below, the Euphrates, a silver ribbon in the nascent light, flowed with an ancient, unwavering grace, reflecting the burgeoning sky. Amytis remembered the first time she had seen this river, its vastness both intimidating and mesmerizing, so unlike the rushing mountain streams of her youth. Now, its steady presence was a comfort, a constant in the ever-changing tapestry of her life. She traced the outlines of the city walls with her gaze, the mighty ramparts of Immegerin-Lil and Nemitian-Lil, their battlements catching the light like a crown of jewels. Beyond them, the fertile plains stretched, a verdant carpet fed by the river's bounty, a stark contrast to the barren desert she had once feared. A soft sigh escaped her lips, not of sorrow, but of profound contentment. It had taken years of quiet longing for the verdant mountains of Media, years of feeling like a fragile blossom transplanted to an arid land, for her spirit to finally take root here. But Nebuchadnezzar, her formidable and devoted husband, had understood the silent language of her heart. He had seen the wistful yearning in her eyes as she spoke of the terraced gardens of her childhood, the cascading waterfalls, the cool, damp earth beneath her feet. And so, he had commanded the impossible, transforming a desert city into a verdant paradise, a living monument to his love and her longing. The hanging gardens, those magnificent terraced marvels, now lay directly beneath her, a vibrant tapestry of green and bloom against the city's ochre and blue. Water, drawn by ingenious Archimedean screws from the Euphrates, shimmered and cascaded through intricate channels, creating a symphony of gentle murmurs that reached even her elevated perch. Exotic trees, their leaves 1,000 shades of green, swayed gently in the morning breeze, their branches laden with fruits unknown in this land before. Flowers, brilliant in their diversity, unfurled their petals to the sun, releasing a heady perfume that mingled with the earthy scent of damp soil and the distant, smoky aroma of morning fires. This was her sanctuary, her solace, a piece of media brought to Babylon, yet now, it was more than that. It was a testament to the power of creation, a bridge between two worlds, and a symbol of her own blossoming acceptance. As the sun climbed higher, painting the sky in ever brighter hues of gold and azure, Amytis turned from the panoramic view, her gaze falling upon a single, delicate median rose bush that thrived in a terracotta pot on her terrace. Its petals, a deep, velvety crimson, were still dewy with the night's moisture. She reached out a slender finger, gently caressing a petal, a faint smile gracing her lips. She remembered the day a messenger had arrived from Media, bearing this very bush, carefully packed and nurtured, a gift from her father. It had been a symbol of home, a connection to her past. Now, it was simply a beautiful rose, thriving in Babylon, just as she had learned to thrive. A soft knock at her chamber door announced the arrival of her handmaiden, bearing a tray with warm milk and honeyed dates. Amytis accepted it with a graceful nod, her thoughts already turning to the day ahead. There would be matters of state to discuss with Nebuchadnezzar, petitions from the people, and perhaps a visit to the temple of Ishtar. Her life here was full, rich, and meaningful, far beyond the quiet existence she had once imagined for herself. The melancholy was gone, replaced by a deep, abiding peace, a sense of belonging that was as strong and enduring as the walls of Babylon itself. Meanwhile, as the city stirred to life, the bustling market district, nestled between the imposing Atemeneachenki and the grand processional way, began its daily symphony. Enheduanna, her strong hands already busy arranging bolts of vibrant dyed linen on her stall, hummed a cheerful, ancient tune under her breath. The air, still cool from the night, was rapidly filling with the familiar, comforting smells of Babylon, freshly baked bread from the nearby ovens, the pungent aroma of spices from distant lands, the earthy scent of the Euphrates carried on the breeze, and the faint, sweet perfume of frankincense wafting from the temples. She adjusted a stack of intricately woven rugs, their patterns telling stories of gods and heroes, her fingers calloused from years of working with threads and dyes. Her stall, though modest, was a riot of color and texture, a testament to her skill and her keen eye for beauty. Enheduanna, with her quick wit and even quicker smile, was a familiar and beloved fixture in the market. Her voice, rich and melodious, was often heard above the din, not just haggling for a fair price, but sharing a snippet of local gossip, a wise old proverb, or a captivating tale of ancient Sumerian kings. "Good morning," Enheduanna called out a neighboring vendor, a burly man with a basket of fresh figs balanced precariously on his head. "May your sales be as plentiful as the river's bounty." Enheduanna laughed, a warm, genuine sound that drew the attention of early morning shoppers. "And yours, my friend, as sweet as your figs. Though I doubt any could be sweeter than the tales I have to tell today." She had seen Babylon transform from a city of mud, brick and ambition to a jewel of the ancient world. She remembered the early days of construction, the endless lines of labourers, the colossal bricks being hoisted into place, the sheer scale of Nebuchadnezzar's vision. At first, like many, she had viewed it with a mix of awe and skepticism. Such grand projects, she had thought, surely they would drain the city's coffers, leaving the common folk to suffer. But Nebuchadnezzar, for all his ambition, had also been a shrewd and benevolent ruler. The building projects had brought work, the irrigation systems had brought prosperity to the fields, and the stability of the empire had allowed trade to flourish. Now, as she looked around at the vibrant, bustling market, at the diverse faces of merchants from Elam, Assyria, and even distant Egypt, she felt a surge of pride. This was her city, a place of opportunity, a melting pot of cultures, a testament to human ingenuity. The grand projects, the towering Etemenanki, the magnificent Ishtar Gate, the legendary Hanging Gardens, they were not just monuments to a king's ego, but symbols of Babylon's enduring strength and beauty, a source of shared identity for all its citizens. A young woman, her eyes wide with wonder, paused at Enheduanna's stall, gazing at a particularly vibrant tapestry depicting the goddess Ishtar riding her lions. "It is beautiful," she whispered, her voice barely audible above the rising clamor of the market. "Did you weave this yourself?" Enheduanna smiled, her eyes crinkling at the corners. "Indeed, child. Every thread, every dye, chosen with care. It tells the story of Ishtar's descent to the underworld, a tale of courage and rebirth." She gestured with a practiced hand. "Feel the silk, so soft, like the goddess's touch. Imagine the colors, how they would shimmer in your home, bringing light and fortune." The young woman, captivated, reached out a tentative hand, her fingers brushing against the smooth fabric. Enheduanna watched her, a silent understanding passing between them. It was not just about selling textiles, it was about sharing stories, connecting with people, weaving the fabric of community. As the morning progressed, the market became a swirling vortex of activity. The air was thick with the aroma of roasting meats, the sweet scent of dates and figs, and the earthy smell of freshly tilled soil from the produce stalls. The rhythmic clang of the coppersmith's hammer mingled with the bleating of sheep, the chatter of merchants, and the laughter of children. Enheduanna, her voice growing a little hoarse from hours of spirited bartering and storytelling, felt a deep sense of satisfaction. Her small clay tablet, used for keeping accounts, showed a good morning's trade. Later that afternoon, as the sun began its slow descent, casting long, golden shadows across the city, a different kind of energy began to stir. The processional way, usually a thoroughfare for merchants and citizens, was being meticulously swept and adorned. Priests in their ceremonial robes, their heads shaven, moved with solemn purpose, overseeing the preparations. The air, usually filled with the mundane sounds of daily life, now carried the faint, haunting strains of lyres and flutes, practicing for the evening's grand procession. Amytis, having spent the morning in quiet contemplation and tending to her duties, found herself drawn to the palace's inner courtyard, where a small, intimate garden flourished. Here, away from the grandeur of the hanging gardens, she cultivated a selection of delicate herbs and flowers, many of them native to Media, their familiar scents a comforting balm. She knelt beside a patch of vibrant blue irises, their petals unfurling in the gentle breeze, their color a vivid echo of her homeland skies. She remembered the first time she had truly felt at home in Babylon. It had been during the spring festival of Rke-2, the New Year celebration. The city had exploded with color and sound, a joyous cacophony that had at first overwhelmed her. But as she watched Nebuchadnezzar, dressed in his finest robes, leading the procession down the Ishtar Gate, his face alight with pride and devotion, she had felt a strange, unexpected warmth bloom in her chest. The sheer devotion of the people, their faith in their gods and their king, had been palpable, a powerful current that had swept her along. And then, as the procession reached the Atamanahnki, the towering ziggurat reaching towards the heavens, she had looked up at the stars, already visible in the twilight sky, and for the first time, she had felt a profound connection to this ancient land. The Babylonians, with their intricate understanding of the cosmos, their belief in the divine order of the universe, had offered her a new perspective, a way to see her own life within a grander, more enduring tapestry. The stars, which had once seemed distant and indifferent, now felt like guiding lights, their ancient wisdom reflected not just in the priest's scrolls, but in the very stones of Babylon, a city that had dared to reach for them and, in doing so, had found its own enduring light. A soft rustle of silk announced Nebuchadnezzar's presence. He stood at the entrance to the garden, his imposing figure softened by the fading light. His eyes, usually so stern and commanding, now held a gentle warmth as he watched her. He wore a simple tunic, having shed his royal regalia for a moment of quiet respite before the evening's festivities. "My queen," he said, his voice a deep rumble that always sent a shiver of warmth through her. "You are lost in thought." Amytis rose, turning to face him, a serene smile gracing her lips. "Only reflecting on the beauty of this place, my king, and the incredible journey that brought me here." She gestured to the irises. "These remind me of home, yet they thrive here, in your city, under your sky." Nebuchadnezzar walked towards her, his gaze sweeping over the small garden, then settling on her face. "It was my greatest desire to make you feel at home, Amytis. To bring the verdant beauty of your mountains to my desert kingdom." He reached out, gently cupping her chin, his thumb brushing her cheek. "Your happiness is the greatest jewel in my crown." Amytis leaned into his touch, her heart swelling with an emotion that transcended mere affection. It was a profound gratitude, a deep respect, and a love that had blossomed slowly, like the exotic flowers in their gardens, nurtured by his unwavering devotion. "And your love, my king, has built a paradise not just for me, but for all of Babylon. It is a testament to your ambition, your ingenuity, and your profound connection to the divine." He smiled, a rare, genuine smile that transformed his powerful face. "The gods have blessed our endeavors, my queen. They have guided our hands and breathed life into our dreams." He looked towards the setting sun, its fiery orb dipping below the horizon, painting the sky in a spectacular display of crimson and gold. "Tonight, we celebrate their favor. Tonight, Babylon shines brightest." As dusk deepened into twilight, the city truly began to glow. Torches flickered to life along the processional way, casting dancing shadows on the magnificent glazed brick reliefs of lions, dragons, and bulls that adorned the Ishtar Gate. The air, now cooler, was thick with the scent of burning cedarwood and frankincense, mingling with the tantalizing aroma of roasted meats and sweet pastries. The distant murmur of the market had given way to the excited chatter of crowds gathering along the processional way, their voices rising and falling like the tide. Enheduanna, having closed her stall for the day, found herself swept up in the festive atmosphere. She had donned her finest linen tunic, embroidered with intricate patterns, and adorned her hair with a string of polished carnelian beads. She stood with a group of friends and neighbors, jostling for a good view of the processional way, her heart thrumming with the collective excitement of the crowd. "Look, look!" cried a child, pointing a small finger towards the Ishtar Gate. "They are coming!" A hush fell over the crowd, a collective intake of breath, as the first strains of ceremonial music reached them, carried on the evening breeze. The deep thrum of drums, the soaring notes of trumpets, and the ethereal sound of lyres created a powerful, evocative symphony that seemed to vibrate through the very stones of the city. Then, through the magnificent arch of the Ishtar Gate, emerged the procession. First came the priests, their white robes gleaming in the torchlight, carrying sacred standards emblazoned with the symbols of the gods. Their chanting, deep and resonant, filled the air, a timeless invocation that connected the present to the ancient past. Behind them, musicians played their instruments with fervent devotion, their melodies weaving a tapestry of sound that enveloped the city. Next came the statues of the gods, borne on elaborate palanquins, their gilded forms shimmering under the flickering torches. Marduk, the supreme god of Babylon, his majestic figure adorned with precious jewels, led the divine retinue, followed by Ishtar, the goddess of love and war, her fierce yet beautiful visage radiating power. The crowd erupted in cheers and shouts of praise, their devotion palpable, a wave of fervent energy that surged through the processional way. Enheduanna, her eyes wide with awe, felt a thrill course through her. She had witnessed this procession many times, yet each time, it felt new, fresh, and deeply moving. It was a reminder of the divine order that governed their lives, the powerful forces that shaped their destiny, and the enduring strength of their faith. Then, amidst a fresh wave of cheers, came Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, his figure regal and imposing, dressed in robes of shimmering gold and deep purple, his crown gleaming with precious stones. He walked with a majestic stride, his face a mask of solemn dignity, yet his eyes, as they swept over the adoring crowd, held a flicker of pride and profound devotion. Beside him, serene and radiant, walked Queen Amytis, her sapphire robes catching the torchlight, her dark eyes reflecting the joyous celebration around her. A collective gasp of admiration rippled through the crowd as Amytis passed, her beauty and grace a vision in the torchlit night. Enheduanna watched her, a silent respect blooming in her heart. She remembered the early whispers about the Median queen, her quiet melancholy, her longing for her distant home. But now, as Amytis walked beside her king, her head held high, a gentle smile gracing her lips, she radiated a quiet strength, a profound sense of belonging. The hanging gardens, a monument to love and longing, now stood as a testament to her transformation, her spirit blossoming alongside the exotic flora. As the royal couple passed, Enheduanna found herself caught in the powerful current of emotion that surged through the crowd. She raised her voice with the others, shouting praises to the gods and to their magnificent king and queen. This was Babylon, her city, a place of grandeur and devotion, of human ingenuity and divine inspiration. It was a place where stories were born, where legends were forged, and where the heartbeat of a civilization pulsed with an ancient, vibrant rhythm. The procession continued its majestic journey, making its way towards the Ate-menanke, the towering ziggurat that pierced the starlit sky. As the royal party ascended the sacred ramps, the music swelled, a powerful crescendo that seemed to lift the very spirit of the city. From her vantage point, Enheduanna watched as the figures of the king and queen grew smaller, eventually disappearing into the sacred precincts at the summit, where the final rituals would be performed under the watchful gaze of the cosmos. Above, the night sky was a breathtaking canvas of shimmering stars, each one a tiny beacon of ancient light, their brilliance undimmed by the city's glow. The Milky Way, a luminous river of celestial dust, stretched across the heavens, a silent testament to the vastness and mystery of the universe. The Babylonians, with their profound understanding of the stars, saw in them not just distant lights, but the very presence of the gods, their movements dictating the ebb and flow of earthly life. Amytis, standing beside Nebuchadnezzar on the highest terrace of the Ate-menanke, felt the cool night air caress her skin, carrying with it the faint, sweet scent of the gardens below. From this dizzying height, the city of Babylon stretched out beneath them, a glittering tapestry of lights, its grand avenues and bustling markets now quieted, bathed in the soft glow of torches and the ethereal light of the stars. The Euphrates, a silver serpent, wound its way through the heart of the city, reflecting the celestial spectacle above. She looked at Nebuchadnezzar, his profile etched against the starlit sky, his face illuminated by the flickering torches. His eyes, usually so focused on earthly matters, were now turned upwards, his gaze lost in the infinite expanse of the heavens. She could feel his devotion, his profound connection to the divine, a connection that had driven him to build this magnificent city, this towering ziggurat, this bridge between earth and sky. He turned to her, a rare, gentle smile gracing his lips. "Look, my queen," he murmured, his voice soft, almost reverent. "The gods watch over us. They bless our city, our people, our love." Amytis leaned her head against his shoulder, her heart overflowing with a quiet joy. She looked out at the vast, starlit desert beyond the city walls, at the distant, shimmering expanse of the Euphrates, and then back at the glittering jewel that was Babylon. It was a city built on ambition, on ingenuity, on a profound connection to the divine, and on a love that had transformed a queen's longing into a living paradise. She closed her eyes for a moment, breathing in the cool, fragrant air, feeling the ancient heartbeat of Babylon beneath her feet. She was no longer a stranger in a foreign land, but a queen, a wife, a part of this enduring legacy. Her spirit, once melancholic and yearning, had found its true home, blossoming like the most exotic flower in the heart of this magnificent, starlit desert city. The stars, now brilliant and unwavering, seemed to wink in acknowledgement, their ancient wisdom reflected not just in the priest's scrolls, but in the very stones of Babylon, a city that had dared to reach for them and, in doing so, had found its own enduring light, a beacon across the sands of time. The stars, now brilliant and unwavering, seemed to wink in acknowledgement, their ancient wisdom reflected not just in the priest's scrolls, but in the very stones of Babylon, a city that had dared to reach for them and, in doing so, had found its own enduring light, a beacon across the sands of time. Days later, a gentle quiet settled over the hanging gardens, a hush that often followed the bustling energy of the king's visits, leaving behind only the rustle of leaves and the distant cooing of doves. Queen Amytis, her silken robes a soft whisper against the terraced pathways, walked slowly among the vibrant blossoms, her fingers trailing lightly over the dewy petals of a rare Median rose. It sent a sweet echo of her distant homeland. The sun, a warm, benevolent presence in the clear Babylonian sky, cast long, dancing shadows through the fronds of date palms and the intricate latticework of the irrigation system, creating a shifting tapestry of light and shade upon the polished stone. She paused by a cascading waterfall, the continuous murmur of its descent a soothing lullaby, and gazed out over the sprawling city, its golden-hued brickwork shimmering under the afternoon sun, the mighty Atamene Ziggurat piercing the azure sky like a stairway to the heavens. A subtle smile, one of deep contentment, touched her lips, a stark contrast to the quiet melancholy that had once shadowed her expressive eyes when she first arrived in this sun-drenched land. The longing for the cool, green mountains of Media had not entirely vanished, for a part of one's heart always remained tied to the place of one's birth, but it had transformed, evolving into a tender memory rather than a gnawing ache. This city, once a bewildering maze of unfamiliar customs and arid landscapes, had become her home, not just a place of duty, but a sanctuary of beauty and a testament to a love that had defied the boundaries of empires. She remembered the king's earnest, almost boyish enthusiasm as he had first presented his vision for the gardens, his desire to bring her joy so palpable it had touched her guarded heart, and she felt a profound gratitude for the enduring devotion that had manifested in such a breathtaking, living monument. The air, cool and fragrant from the mist of the waterfalls, carried the earthy scent of damp soil mingling with the intoxicating perfumes of jasmine and oleander, a symphony of aromas that spoke of life, growth, and the tireless ingenuity of human hands. Below, in the shaded courtyard of the royal palace, Adad-shumu-usur, the royal scribe, sat hunched over a fresh clay tablet, his stylus moving with practiced precision, carving cuneiform symbols into the soft, yielding surface. The afternoon light, filtered through the high-arched windows, illuminated the fine dust motes dancing in the air and glinted off the polished obsidian of his stylus, highlighting the intense concentration etched upon his young face. He was meticulously transcribing the latest royal decree concerning the distribution of grain from the recent harvest, his mind focused on the precise wording, the legal implications, and the need for absolute clarity in every stroke. His simple linen tunic, though clean, bore the faint smudges of clay, a testament to his tireless dedication to his craft, and the rhythmic scratching of his stylus was the only sound in the quiet chamber, a counterpoint to the distant, muffled sounds of palace life. Yet, even as his fingers worked with automatic efficiency, his thoughts drifted, as they often did, beyond the immediate task to the grander narratives unfolding around him. He had been present, a silent observer, during the king's recent visit to the Hanging Gardens, standing respectfully in the background, his ears attuned to every word, his eyes absorbing every detail. He had watched the king's proud, almost reverent gaze upon the queen, and the queen's serene, contented smile as she surveyed the verdant terraces, and a deep sense of awe had settled within him. It was a story, he realized, not just of a king's ambition or an empire's wealth, but of a profound human connection, a love that had literally reshaped the landscape. He imagined the future generations, reading his carefully preserved tablets, learning of the mighty Nebuchadnezzar, the builder of walls and temples, but he knew, with a certainty that resonated deep within his soul, that the story of the gardens, born from love, would be the one that truly captivated their imaginations, a testament to beauty and devotion in an age of conquest. He paused, his stylus hovering just above the clay, a new thought taking root in his mind. The king's legacy, he mused, would not only be carved in the enduring stone of the Ishtar Gate or the towering brick of the Etemenanki, but also in the delicate, ephemeral beauty of the gardens, a living, breathing testament to his affection. It was a different kind of power, he understood, one that spoke not of might and dominion, but of tenderness and creation, a balance that made the empire, and its ruler, all the more formidable and fascinating. He felt a surge of quiet excitement, a scribe's thrill, at the prospect of capturing such a nuanced truth, of weaving the human heart into the dry annals of history, knowing that these stories, imbued with emotion, were the true enduring memory of a civilization. The scent of cedarwood, always present in the palace, seemed to deepen, carrying with it the weight of centuries, of countless stories yet to be told, and he felt a profound connection to the long line of scribes who had come before him, each one a guardian of memory, a weaver of the past into the fabric of the future. As the sun began its slow descent, painting the western sky in hues of fiery orange and soft rose, King Nebuchadnezzar himself walked along the battlements of the inner city wall, his gaze sweeping across his magnificent capital. The cool evening breeze, carrying the earthy scent of the Euphrates, ruffled the heavy fringe of his royal garments and stirred the banners emblazoned with the roaring lion of Ishtar that flapped gently from the watchtowers. From this vantage point, the city stretched out beneath him like a living tapestry, a vibrant mosaic of homes, temples, and bustling thoroughfares, all bathed in the golden light of the fading day. He could see the distant glimmer of the river, a silver ribbon winding through the fertile plains, and beyond that, the vast, silent expanse of the desert, its endless dunes slowly turning to shades of purple and indigo as twilight approached. His heart swelled with a quiet pride, a deep, abiding satisfaction that resonated in the very core of his being. He had inherited a kingdom, but he had built an empire, a city that was the envy of the known world, a testament to the might and ingenuity of his people. He thought of the massive walls, so broad that chariots could race upon their tops, of the towering gates adorned with brilliant glazed bricks depicting mythical beasts, of the majestic Etemenanki, its 7 tiers reaching for the stars, a monument to the god Marduk and a symbol of Babylon's spiritual ascendancy. Each brick, each stone, each intricate carving, represented not just a command, but a vision, a dream brought to fruition through tireless effort and unwavering determination. The distant murmur of the city, a symphony of human life, reached him even at this height, a comforting sound that spoke of prosperity, order, and the vibrant pulse of his realm. Yet, as his gaze drifted towards the verdant terraces of the hanging gardens, a softer, more tender emotion stirred within him. He saw the queen, a small, elegant figure moving gracefully among the blooms, and a gentle smile touched his lips. The gardens, his gift to her, were perhaps his most cherished creation, for they were born not of conquest or political ambition, but of a deep and abiding love. He remembered the quiet ache in her eyes when she first spoke of the green mountains of Media, the subtle longing that had pierced his heart, and the fierce resolve that had ignited within him to bring a piece of her homeland to this sun-baked land. It had been a monumental undertaking, a challenge that had stretched the limits of engineering and imagination, but seeing her serene contentment now, her spirit blossoming alongside the exotic flora, made every effort, every expense, every sleepless night of planning utterly worthwhile. The cool, damp air rising from the gardens, carrying the intoxicating fragrance of night-blooming jasmine, drifted up to him, a sweet reminder of the vibrant life he had brought into being. He thought of the future, of the generations yet to come who would walk these very walls, who would marvel at the grandeur of Babylon. Would they remember him as the fierce warrior, the unyielding king who had expanded his empire to its furthest reaches? Or would they speak of Nebuchadnezzar, the builder, the visionary who had dared to create a paradise in the desert? He hoped, with a quiet humility that few ever saw in the formidable ruler, that they would remember both, that his legacy would be a tapestry woven with threads of strength and tenderness, of ambition and devotion. He understood that true immortality lay not just in conquering lands, but in inspiring awe, in creating beauty that transcended time, and in fostering a love that left an indelible mark on the very landscape. The stars, beginning to prickle through the deepening twilight, seemed to echo his thoughts, their ancient, silent watch a testament to the enduring power of human endeavor and the timeless nature of love. Later that evening, as the last vestiges of twilight faded into the deep indigo of the Babylonian night sky, Queen Amytis stood on her private balcony, overlooking the illuminated terraces of the hanging gardens. Torches, strategically placed among the foliage, cast a warm, flickering glow upon the blossoms and leaves, transforming the vibrant greens and reds of the day into a magical tableau of shifting shadows and golden light. The air was cool and still, carrying the heightened perfumes of the night-blooming flowers, a heady mix of jasmine, tuberose, and the sweet, musky scent of datura. The distant sounds of the city had softened into a gentle hum, punctuated by the occasional bray of a donkey or the faint strains of a lyre from a distant courtyard, creating a peaceful, almost ethereal atmosphere. Her gaze was drawn to the intricate network of irrigation channels, now barely visible in the dim light, but she could hear the constant, gentle flow of water, a soothing melody that had become as familiar and comforting as the beating of her own heart. It was a testament, she mused, to the incredible ingenuity of the Babylonians, their ability to harness the mighty Euphrates and bring life to this arid land. She thought of the countless hours of planning, the immense labor, the sheer will that had gone into creating this verdant paradise, and a profound sense of wonder filled her. This garden, her garden, was not merely a collection of beautiful plants, it was a living, breathing symbol of what could be achieved when human ambition was tempered by love and guided by a vision of beauty. She remembered the initial shock of Babylon, the overwhelming scale of its architecture, the relentless sun, the dust, and the deep, unsettling feeling of being an outsider, a median queen in a foreign land. The vibrant bazaars, though fascinating, had felt chaotic, the grand temples imposing, and the palace, for all its splendor, had initially seemed a gilded cage. But the gardens had changed everything. They had been a bridge between her past and her present, a tangible link to the verdant landscapes of her youth, and in tending to them, in watching them flourish, she had found her own roots taking hold in this new soil. The exotic plants, brought from distant lands, thrived here, adapting and blossoming, much like her own spirit had done. The subtle melancholy that had once clung to her like a fine veil had lifted, replaced by a quiet joy, a deep sense of belonging that warmed her from within. A soft rustle behind her announced the king's presence, and she turned, a gentle smile gracing her lips. Nebuchadnezzar stood there, his imposing figure softened by the flickering torchlight, his eyes, usually so stern and commanding, holding a tenderness that was reserved only for her. He walked to her side, his hand gently finding hers, his touch a familiar comfort. Together, they stood in silence for a long moment, simply gazing at the moonlit gardens, the air thick with the scent of blossoms and the unspoken language of their shared history. The cool night air, carrying the faint, earthy smell of the river, wrapped around them like a soft embrace, a silent witness to the enduring power of their connection. "It is beautiful tonight, my queen," Nebuchadnezzar said, his voice a low, resonant rumble, filled with a quiet satisfaction. "More beautiful than I could have ever imagined." Amytis leaned her head gently against his shoulder, a gesture of profound affection and trust. "It is a dream made real, my king," she replied, her voice soft, filled with a warmth that had blossomed over the years. A piece of media, brought to the heart of Babylon, and in so doing, it has made Babylon my heart. She felt the subtle shift in his posture, a quiet contentment that mirrored her own, and she knew, without a single word needing to be spoken, that this shared moment, this quiet appreciation of the beauty they had created together, was a testament to a love that had truly shaped an empire. The distant hoot of an owl, a solitary sound in the vastness of the night, seemed to underscore the profound peace that enveloped them, a peace that had been hard-won, built upon the foundations of ambition and devotion, and now, finally, found its tranquil resting place under the watchful eyes of the ancient Babylonian stars. Adad-shumu-usur, having completed his day's transcription, carefully rolled the finished clay tablet and placed it within its designated niche in the royal archives, a vast, echoing chamber lined with shelves holding thousands upon thousands of inscribed records. The air in the archive was cool and dry, carrying the faint, earthy scent of ancient clay and the subtle aroma of papyrus, a testament to the countless stories and decrees preserved within its walls. He felt the familiar weight of history in this place, the silent presence of generations of scribes who had meticulously recorded the rise and fall of kings, the ebb and flow of empires, the daily life of a civilization. He lit a small oil lamp, its flickering flame casting long, dancing shadows across the rows of tablets, and then carefully selected a fresh, unblemished piece of clay from a storage jar. He settled at a small, sturdy wooden table, his usual workspace, and dipped his stylus into a small bowl of water to soften its tip. Tonight, he would not be transcribing royal decrees or administrative records. Tonight, he would begin a different kind of work, a project he had been contemplating for weeks, one that stirred a deep, almost spiritual excitement within him. He intended to begin his own chronicle, a personal account that would delve beyond the mere facts, seeking to capture the spirit of his era, the human stories that often lay hidden beneath the grand pronouncements of kings. He thought of the king and queen, standing together in the moonlit gardens, their figures silhouetted against the soft glow of the torches, and a clear vision formed in his mind. He would write of the hanging gardens, not merely as a feat of engineering, but as a monument to love, a testament to a king's devotion and a queen's yearning. He would describe the vibrant colors of the blossoms, the intricate irrigation system, the cool mist rising from the waterfalls, but he would also weave in the quiet melancholy of Amytis, her initial isolation, and the profound joy that had blossomed within her as the gardens took root. He would speak of Nebuchadnezzar's ambition, yes, but also of his tender heart, the unseen motivation that had driven such a magnificent creation. He pressed the stylus to the soft clay, the first cuneiform symbol forming beneath his nimble fingers. He began with a description of the Median mountains, their lush greenery and cool streams, setting the scene for the queen's longing. He worked slowly, deliberately, each stroke imbued with a sense of purpose, a quiet determination to do justice to the story. He understood that his role was not just to record, but to interpret, to imbue the cold facts with the warmth of human emotion, to ensure that the future generations would not only know what happened, but why it mattered, how it felt. The scent of the fresh clay, damp and earthy, filled his nostrils, a grounding aroma that connected him to the very soil of Babylon, to the ancient traditions of his people. As he wrote, the sounds of the night outside the archive faded into a distant hum, replaced by the rhythmic scratching of his stylus and the quiet whisper of his own thoughts. He felt a profound connection to the past, to the countless scribes who had sat in similar chambers, under similar lamps, their hands shaping the clay, their minds shaping the narrative. He was a link in an unbroken chain, a guardian of memory, and he felt a deep sense of responsibility to capture the truth, not just of events, but of the human spirit that animated them. The story of Babylon, he realized, was not just about its walls or its wealth, but about the hearts and minds of the people who lived within its embrace, who dreamed its dreams and built its wonders. He looked up for a moment, his gaze drifting towards the high, narrow window, where a sliver of the vast, starlit Babylonian sky was visible. The stars, ancient and unwavering, seemed to watch over him, their silent presence a reminder of the immense span of time, of the fleeting nature of individual lives, and the enduring power of stories to transcend generations. He smiled, a small, private smile of contentment. He knew that his words, carefully etched into this humble clay, would outlast him, would carry the echoes of this magnificent era far into the future, ensuring that the legacy of Babylon, in all its grandeur and its subtle beauty, would never truly fade. The cool, dry air of the archive, imbued with the scent of history, seemed to settle around him, a comforting embrace, as he returned to his task, his stylus moving with renewed purpose, weaving the threads of love, ambition, and ingenuity into the enduring tapestry of time. The scribe's meticulous work continued in the quiet hush of the archive, a silent testament to the city's grand narrative, while outside, the vibrant pulse of Babylon beat with an energy that transcended the written word, manifesting in the everyday lives of its people, in the hum of commerce, and the shared warmth of human connection. The sun, a golden disk in the vast Mesopotamian sky, began its slow descent, casting long, theatrical shadows across the bustling thoroughfares, painting the towering walls and the intricate carvings of the Ishtar gate with hues of apricot and rose. In Hedjuana, her hand still faintly scented with the earthy fragrance of indigo and madder root from the day's textile dealings, navigated the winding alleys of the market quarter with the practiced ease of a river current finding its way to the sea. Her basket, now lighter than it had been at dawn, swung gently beside her, a few remaining dates and a small, intricately woven mat nestled within its reeds. The cacophony of the market, which had been a roaring tide of voices and bartering just hours before, had softened into a gentle murmur, a contented sigh as vendors packed away their wares and families began to gather for the evening meal. She paused near a stall where a potter was carefully stacking his finished pieces, the smooth, cool clay gleaming under the fading light. A faint smile touched her lips as she watched him, remembering the countless times she had bartered with his father, and his father before him, for the sturdy jars that held her dyes. This continuity, this gentle rhythm of generations, was as much a part of Babylon as its soaring ziggurats and its verdant gardens, a quiet strength that underpinned all the grand ambitions. As she continued her walk, the scent of roasting lamb and freshly baked bread began to mingle with the lingering perfume of frankincense from the nearby temples, creating a rich tapestry of aromas that spoke of home and hearth. Children, their laughter like scattered bells, chased each other through the narrow lanes, their bare feet kicking up small clouds of dust that caught the last rays of the sun, turning them to glittering gold. In Hedjuana watched them, a warmth spreading through her chest, a familiar comfort in the simple, enduring joy of life unfolding. She had witnessed so much of Babylon's transformation, from the ground up, from the perspective of the common citizen whose daily life was touched by every new decree, every grand construction project. She remembered the early days of the great rebuilding, when the air had been thick with the dust of construction, and the constant clang of hammers against stone had been the city's relentless soundtrack. There had been skepticism then, a weary sigh among some of her fellow traders, about the endless demands for labor, the resources poured into these colossal endeavors. Would these towering walls truly protect them more? Would these hanging gardens truly feed them, or were they merely a king's folly, a magnificent dream built on the backs of the people? Yet, as the years unfolded, as the Ishtar gate rose in all its cerulean glory, its fierce, majestic dragons and bulls seeming to guard the very soul of the city, as the Etemenanke ziggurat climbed ever higher, a stairway to the heavens, and as the hanging gardens bloomed with an impossible lushness in the arid landscape, in Hedjuana's perspective had shifted. She had seen the way the new irrigation channels, initially built for the gardens, had also brought water to more distant fields, enriching the harvests and easing the burden on farmers. She had seen the pride in the eyes of the artisans who had painstakingly crafted each glazed brick, each intricate carving, knowing their work would stand for centuries. The city had become more than just a collection of buildings. It had become a living, breathing entity, a testament to human ingenuity and a profound connection to the divine. The temples, now grander and more numerous, seemed to hum with a palpable energy, and the daily rituals, once a distant spectacle, now felt woven into the very fabric of existence, a comforting rhythm that connected earth to sky. As she approached the more open spaces leading towards the Euphrates, the air grew cooler, carrying the damp, earthy scent of the river itself, a smell that had been the constant companion of her life. The great river, Babylon's lifeblood, flowed with an ancient, unhurried grace, reflecting the deepening twilight like a polished obsidian mirror. Along its banks, the reeds whispered secrets to the evening breeze, and the distant call of a night bird echoed across the water. Enheduanna found her usual spot on a low stone bench overlooking the river, a place where she often came to unwind, to simply be after a long day. She sat down, her body sighing with a gentle weariness, and watched the last sliver of the sun dip below the horizon, painting the western sky in streaks of fiery orange and deep violet. The stars, one by one, began to prick through the darkening canvas above, appearing first as hesitant pinpricks, then blossoming into a dazzling, infinite expanse. This was her favorite time, when the city, having exerted its vibrant energy throughout the day, settled into a profound, starlit serenity. The distant murmur of the market had almost completely faded, replaced by the gentle lapping of the river against its banks, the occasional lowing of cattle from a nearby pen, and the soft, rhythmic chirping of crickets. She closed her eyes for a moment, letting the cool evening air wash over her face, feeling the subtle vibrations of the city beneath her, a grand, ancient heart beating steadily. When she opened them again, the first faint glow of the moon was appearing, a sliver of silver against the deep indigo. Her mind wandered to the stories she had collected, the tales she had shared throughout her life. She was a keeper of Babylon's living history, not through cuneiform tablets or royal decrees, but through the vibrant, often humorous, sometimes poignant, narratives of its people. She remembered the old woman who swore she had seen a goddess walking through the hanging gardens at dawn, her robes trailing dew-kissed blossoms. She recalled the young soldier, his eyes wide with awe, describing the intricate patterns of the Ishtar gate, each animal seeming to breathe with a life of its own. These were the threads she wove into her own tapestry of tales, stories told to eager children gathered around her stall, or whispered among friends over cups of date wine in the cool evenings. She spoke of the king's ambition, yes, but also of the devotion of the gardeners who tended the impossible terraces, of the love that inspired such monumental creations, of the human spirit that sought to reach for the heavens even as its feet remained firmly planted on the earth. She thought of the great engineers, the architects, the countless laborers whose names would never be recorded, but whose hands had shaped this magnificent city. Their ingenuity, their collective effort, had transformed a vision into a breathtaking reality, a testament to what humanity could achieve when united by a common purpose, when driven by a desire for beauty and permanence. The very air she breathed felt imbued with their legacy, a silent hum of enduring memory. Looking up at the vast, star-strewn sky, Enheduanna felt a profound connection to something larger than herself, larger even than this magnificent city. The same stars that shone down on her now had guided the ancient mariners on the Euphrates, had been observed by the priests atop the Ziggurat, had witnessed the rise and fall of empires before Babylon and would continue to shine long after. There was a comforting constancy in this celestial dance, a reminder of the cyclical nature of time, of the enduring beauty of creation. She reached into her basket and pulled out the small, intricately woven mat. It was a gift for her neighbor's new grandchild, a tiny, vibrant thing woven with threads of deep blue and gold, mirroring the colors of the Ishtar gate and the desert stars. As her fingers traced the delicate patterns, she felt a quiet sense of fulfillment. Her life, like the threads of this mat, was woven into the larger fabric of Babylon, a small but essential part of its enduring story. The city, bathed now in the soft, ethereal glow of the moon and stars, seemed to breathe with a gentle, contented sigh. The towering walls, the majestic gates, the verdant gardens, the soaring ziggurat all stood as silent sentinels, guardians of a dream made real. They were not just structures of stone and brick, they were monuments to ambition, to love, to ingenuity, to the deep human yearning for connection with the divine and the cosmos. Enheduanna leaned back against the cool stone, her gaze fixed on the shimmering expanse above. The vastness of the universe, the intricate beauty of the city below, and the quiet strength of the human spirit all converged in this moment, creating a profound sense of peace. The passage of time, which had once seemed a relentless current, now felt like a gentle river, carrying her, and her city, forward with grace. She closed her eyes again, not in weariness, but in a quiet embrace of the moment. The sense of cedarwood and frankincense, of the Euphrates and exotic blossoms, mingled in her senses, a fragrant lullaby. The distant, soft murmur of the city settling into its nightly slumber, the gentle lapping of the river, the whisper of the wind through the reeds, these sounds wove themselves into a soothing symphony. Babylon, in its starlit serenity, was not just a place of grandeur and power, it was a home, a sanctuary, a living testament to the enduring human spirit. And as Enheduanna sat there, a quiet keeper of its tales, she knew that its legacy, etched not just in clay tablets but in the hearts and memories of its people, would truly never fade, carried forward on the gentle currents of time, under the watchful, eternal gaze of the desert stars. A deep, abiding peace settled over her, a profound sense of belonging to this magnificent, enduring city, as the night deepened, and the world around her drifted into a calm and dreamless slumber. A deep, abiding peace settled over her, a profound sense of belonging to this magnificent, enduring city, as the night deepened, and the world around her drifted into a calm and dreamless slumber. Enheduanna remained on the rooftop terrace, the cool night air a soft caress against her skin, her gaze still fixed upon the sprawling majesty of Babylon. The city, which had hummed with life and ambition throughout the day, now exhaled a collective sigh, its vibrant energy softening into a gentle, rhythmic pulse. The distant calls of night watchmen echoed faintly, like whispers carried on the wind, blending with the rustle of palm fronds and the almost imperceptible murmur of the Euphrates flowing steadily towards the distant sea. The air, once thick with the sense of spices and human endeavor, now carried only the subtle, clean fragrance of the river and the lingering sweetness of the hanging gardens, a testament to nature's enduring presence amidst human creation. She thought of the day's journey, a vivid tapestry woven from the threads of history and the vibrant pulse of the present. She had walked through the colossal Ishtar Gate, its glazed bricks shimmering like jewels under the fierce Babylonian sun, each depiction of a lion and a dragon, a silent guardian of the city's heart. She had felt the awe-inspiring scale of the Etemenanke Ziggurat, its 7 colossal tiers reaching towards the heavens, a stairway for the gods, a monument to human aspiration and devotion. The bustling markets, a kaleidoscope of colors and sounds, had presented a sensory feast where merchants haggled over precious lapis lazuli and fragrant frankincense, and the air thrummed with the vibrant exchange of goods and stories. And then, the hanging gardens, a verdant marvel suspended in the air, a dream made real through ingenuity and tireless effort, where exotic plants bloomed in defiance of the arid land, their fragrance a sweet balm to the senses. Each sight, each sound, each scent had etched itself into her memory, not merely as an observation, but as an experience deeply felt, a connection forged with the very soul of this ancient land. She had seen the ambition of kings reflected in towering walls and intricate irrigation systems, the devotion of priests in the ascending steps of the ziggurat, and the enduring love of a people for their home in the vibrant markets and the meticulously tended gardens. These were not just structures of brick and mortar, but living testaments to the human spirit, to its capacity for creation, for belief, for enduring love. As the moon, a slender crescent, began its slow ascent, casting a silvery sheen over the city, Enheduanna's thoughts drifted to the people who had brought Babylon to life. She imagined the skilled artisans who had painstakingly crafted each glazed brick of the Ishtar Gate, their hands guided by generations of knowledge, their hearts filled with pride for their city. She pictured the engineers and laborers who had toiled under the relentless sun to raise the colossal terraces of the hanging gardens, their sweat and determination transforming a king's dream into a breathtaking reality. She heard the faint echoes of the priests chanting ancient hymns within the temples, their voices carrying prayers to the heavens, seeking blessings for their people and their land. Each individual, from the humblest farmer tending his fields along the Euphrates to the most powerful noble in the king's court, played a vital role in the grand symphony of Babylon. Their lives, intertwined with the rhythms of the river and the cycles of the seasons, were a testament to resilience, to community, and to an unshakable faith in the enduring power of their city. Enheduanna felt a profound sense of connection to these unseen figures, their spirits woven into the very fabric of Babylon, their hopes and dreams echoing through the ages. The wind shifted gently, carrying with it the faint, earthy scent of the desert beyond the city walls. It was a smell that spoke of vast, open spaces, of timelessness, of a world that existed long before Babylon and would continue long after. It reminded her that even the grandest human creations were but fleeting moments in the grand expanse of cosmic time. Yet, within those moments, humanity achieved wonders, left legacies that whispered across millennia. The desert, with its silent, watchful stars, seemed to hold the secrets of all ages, a patient witness to the rise and fall of empires, to the enduring spirit of life itself. She closed her eyes for a moment, letting the cool breeze wash over her, imagining the countless generations who had stood on these very rooftops, gazing at the same stars, dreaming the same dreams of prosperity, peace, and enduring legacy. The weight of history was not oppressive, but comforting, a warm embrace of shared humanity across the vast chasm of time. She felt a deep gratitude for the opportunity to witness this magnificent city, to feel its pulse, to understand its heart. As her eyes reopened, she noticed a subtle change in the sky. The deepest indigo of the night was beginning to soften at the eastern horizon, a faint hint of pearl and rose promising the dawn. The stars, which had blazed with such intensity earlier, now seemed to dim ever so slightly, preparing to yield their stage to the returning sun. The city below remained in slumber, but a new energy, subtle and nascent, was beginning to stir, a quiet anticipation of the new day. Enheduanna thought of the themes that had woven themselves through her journey: ambition and legacy, love and devotion, human ingenuity and engineering, the connection to the divine and the cosmos, the beauty of creation, and the passage of time and enduring memory. Babylon, in its very existence, embodied all of these. It was a city born of ambition, built with ingenuity, sustained by devotion, and designed to leave an indelible legacy. Its towering ziggurat reached for the divine, its gardens celebrated the beauty of creation, and its very stones whispered tales of a time that, though ancient, felt remarkably alive. Of its enduring peace. The vast desert, with its silent, watchful stars, seemed to cradle the entire world in its timeless embrace, a gentle guardian of dreams. The grand city, once so alive with the clamor of human endeavor, now rested, a magnificent silhouette against the softening sky, its legacy etched not just in stone, but in the quiet, enduring rhythm of the world. A profound stillness enveloped her, a sense of absolute calm that settled deep within her being. The world outside softened, blurred, and then gently faded, leaving only the quiet whisper of memory and the profound, comforting darkness of a world at peace. The ancient city of Babylon, with all its wonders and its timeless beauty, receded into the gentle currents of slumber, a magnificent dream lingering softly at the edge of consciousness, a tranquil echo in the quiet chambers of the mind, as the world around her, and within her, drifted into a calm and dreamless sleep. The profound stillness, which had descended upon the city like a soft, velvet curtain, now deepened further, inviting the stars to emerge with a brilliance that seemed almost supernatural against the inky canvas of the Babylonian night. High above the sleeping city, where the Ate-Menanke ziggurat pierced the heavens like a stairway to the gods, the celestial tapestry unfolded in silent majesty, each twinkling point of light a distant sun, a whispered secret from the cosmos. From her private terrace, overlooking the sprawling, illuminated expanse of the palace gardens, Queen Amytis watched the spectacle, a delicate silver filigree of moonlight tracing the contours of her thoughtful profile. A gentle breeze, carrying the faint, sweet scent of jasmine and the earthy fragrance of the Euphrates, stirred the silken curtains that framed the archway, causing them to dance with an ethereal grace, like silent spirits in the night. She had sought this quiet solitude after the day's fervent activities, after the last of the royal scribes had departed with their scrolls of decrees and the final echoes of the court musicians had faded into the vast halls, desiring a moment of unburdened contemplation beneath the boundless sky. Her gaze drifted from the distant constellations, which the Chaldean astronomers meticulously charted from their lofty observatories, to the more immediate, yet equally wondrous, sight of the hanging gardens, a verdant mountain of foliage that rose in terrace splendor beside the palace walls, a living monument to her husband's profound affection. The gardens, a breathtaking cascade of trees, flowers, and flowing water, shimmered faintly under the moon's gentle luminescence, each tear a testament to human ingenuity and a vibrant echo of the lush, mountainous landscapes of her Median homeland, a landscape she had often yearned for in the flat, sun-drenched plains of Mesopotamia. Nabuchodonosor, her formidable king, had commissioned this magnificent marvel, a testament not only to his power and vision but also to a love that sought to bridge vast geographical distances and soothe the queen's quiet longing. She remembered the day the first saplings, carefully transported from distant lands, had been planted, their delicate roots entrusted to the rich Babylonian soil, and the tireless efforts of thousands of laborers and engineers who had transformed a barren stretch of land into this verdant paradise. A soft rustle from behind announced the king's approach, and Amytis turned, a gentle smile gracing her lips as Nabuchodonosor stepped onto the terrace, his imposing figure softened by the ambient light, his regal robes flowing around him like shadows. He moved with a quiet dignity, his eyes, usually alight with the fire of command and ambition, now held a tender warmth as they met hers, a silent understanding passing between them that transcended words. He often found her here, in these late hours, seeking solace and inspiration in the celestial expanse, a silent communion with the universe that mirrored his own deep reverence for the divine order. "The stars are particularly bright tonight, my queen," he observed, his voice a low, resonant murmur that seemed to blend with the night's gentle symphony, as he moved to stand beside her, his hand gently finding hers, a comforting weight that spoke of shared burdens and enduring companionship. "It is as if Marduk himself has scattered diamonds across the heavens for us to behold, a reminder of the boundless wonders beyond our earthly realm." Amytis leaned her head lightly against his shoulder, finding comfort in his familiar presence, the solid strength of his being a grounding force in her often ethereal thoughts. "They are indeed magnificent, my king," she replied, her voice a soft melody, "and they whisper tales of eternity, of cycles far grander than our own, of a wisdom that predates even the oldest stones of Babylon." She paused, her gaze sweeping across the illuminated gardens, then back to the distant, shimmering river, where the faint glow of fishing boats could still be seen, their lanterns tiny stars upon the water. "Sometimes, I imagine the souls of our ancestors, the great kings and queens who walked these lands before us, gazing upon these very same stars, finding comfort and guidance in their unchanging paths." Nabucodonosor tightened his grip on her hand, a silent acknowledgement of her contemplative spirit, a quality he admired and often sought in her company, a balance to his own pragmatic and often demanding nature. "Perhaps they do, my love," he mused, his eyes following her gaze, "and perhaps they smile upon the city we have built, a city that seeks to honor their legacy and to reach ever closer to the divine." He gestured towards the towering silhouette of the Atamanahenki, its 7 tiers rising majestically, a beacon of faith and power. "The ziggurat, too, reaches for those stars, a ladder for the gods, a symbol of our devotion and our aspiration to touch the heavens, to bring the divine closer to our people." He spoke of his grand vision, not with the booming authority of a king addressing his court, but with the quiet passion of a man sharing his deepest dreams with the one he trusted most, detailing the meticulous planning, the astronomical calculations, and the sheer human effort that had gone into constructing such a monumental edifice. He described the intricate drainage systems that kept the hanging gardens perpetually watered, the ingenious hydraulic mechanisms that lifted water from the Euphrates to the highest terraces, and the diverse botanical species that had been gathered from across his vast empire, each plant a miniature ambassador from a distant land. His words painted a vivid picture of a city not merely built of brick and mortar, but forged from ambition, devotion, and an unyielding belief in its own destiny. Amytis listened, her heart swelling with a quiet pride for this man, her husband, who had transformed a vision into a tangible reality, who had carved an empire from the desert and adorned it with wonders. She knew the weight of his responsibilities, the constant vigilance required to maintain peace and prosperity across such a vast domain, the endless negotiations with vassal kings, the strategic campaigns to secure borders, and the meticulous administration of a complex society. Yet, in these moments of shared intimacy, beneath the silent judgment of the stars, he was simply Nabucodonosor, the man who loved her, the dreamer who built mountains of green in a flat land, and the king who sought to make Babylon eternal. "And what of the future, my king?" she inquired softly, her voice carrying a hint of the gentle melancholy that sometimes touched her reflective spirit. "Do you believe these stones, these gardens, these towering ziggurats will endure through the passage of countless centuries, whispering our story to generations yet unborn?" Nabuchodonosor turned fully to her, his gaze intense, yet tender, as he cupped her face gently in his hands, his thumbs tracing the delicate line of her jaw. "They will, my queen," he affirmed with unwavering conviction, his voice imbued with the certainty of a man who believed in the power of his own will and the divine favor bestowed upon his reign. "For we build not merely for ourselves, but for eternity, for the glory of Marduk, and for the enduring legacy of Babylon, a legacy that will be etched into the very fabric of time, remembered long after our dust has returned to the earth." He kissed her forehead, a gesture of profound affection and shared destiny, a silent vow beneath the watchful eyes of the ancient stars. As the first faint blush of dawn began to paint the eastern horizon, casting long, purple shadows across the sleeping city, a different kind of journey was already underway, far beyond the city walls, where the vast, starlit desert stretched out like an endless, rippling sea of sand. Marduk-apla-iddina, known to his followers as Marduk's heir, a title that carried both immense reverence and a heavy burden of expectation, rode at the head of a small, determined caravan, his figure silhouetted against the deepening indigo of the pre-dawn sky. He was not a king by birth, nor by conquest in the traditional sense, but a leader by prophecy and fervent belief, a man whose destiny was intertwined with the ancient, powerful deity whose name he bore. His journey had begun days ago, from a hidden oasis deep within the Arabian sands, a place known only to a select few, a sanctuary where the old ways were preserved and the whispers of forgotten gods still held sway. They traveled mostly by night, guided by the unwavering constellations, by the familiar patterns of Orion and the Pleiades, which served as their silent, celestial compass across the trackless wastes. The desert, a formidable and often unforgiving landscape during the day, transformed into a realm of breathtaking beauty and profound tranquility under the cloak of darkness, its vastness inspiring both awe and a deep sense of insignificance. The rhythmic padding of the camel hooves on the soft sand, the jingle of their bridles, and the occasional low murmur of his companions were the only sounds that broke the vast silence, a silence so deep it seemed to absorb all other noise, leaving only the quiet hum of existence. Marduk-apla-iddina, wrapped in a thick wool cloak against the desert's chill, rode with a stoic resolve, his eye scanning the distant horizon, searching for the first faint glimmer of the Euphrates, the lifeblood of Mesopotamia, the river that would lead him to his ultimate destination, the formidable walls of Babylon itself. He carried with him not weapons of war, but scrolls of ancient prophecies, whispered traditions, and the fervent hope of rekindling a forgotten flame, a belief that the true spirit of Babylon, the reverence for the old gods, particularly his namesake, Marduk, had been overshadowed by the ambitions of kings and the relentless pursuit of earthly power. His mission was not to overthrow, but to remind, to awaken, to guide the people back to a purer form of worship, to a time when the divine presence was felt more acutely in the daily lives of all. He was a scholar, a priest, and a visionary, driven by an unwavering conviction that Babylon's true strength lay not in its golden gates or its towering ziggurats, but in its spiritual heart. Beside him rode Shulgi, his most trusted advisor, a man whose face was etched with the wisdom of many seasons spent under the merciless desert sun, his eyes sharp and observant, missing nothing. Shulgi, a master of ancient languages and forgotten lore, served as Mardakaparadina's memory, a living archive of prophecies and rituals, his counsel invaluable in navigating both the physical dangers of the desert and the intricate spiritual landscape they sought to influence. He had been with Mardakaparadina since childhood, sharing his master's dreams and enduring his hardships, a steadfast companion whose loyalty was as unyielding as the desert stone. "The wind carries the scent of water, my lord," Shulgi announced softly, his voice barely above a whisper, yet clear in the still air, his gaze fixed on a distant, barely perceptible darkening of the horizon, a subtle shift in the monochromatic palette of sand and sky. "The great river cannot be far now, and with it, the fertile lands, the fields of grain, and the bustling life of the settlements." Mardakaparadina nodded, a faint smile touching his lips, a rare expression that softened the usual intensity of his features. "Indeed, Shulgi," he replied, his voice a low, gravelly sound, "the Euphrates, the giver of life, the artery of this ancient land, draws us ever closer, and with it, the city that is both our hope and our challenge." He thought of Babylon, not just as a city of brick and gold, but as a living entity, a spiritual crucible where the fate of his people, and perhaps even the gods themselves, would be decided. As the caravan pressed on, the sky above them began its slow, magnificent transformation, the deep indigo gradually yielding to shades of rose and gold, painting the eastern sky with strokes of breathtaking beauty, announcing the imminent arrival of the sun. The stars, which had been their faithful companions throughout the night, began to recede, their brilliance dimming in the face of the encroaching light, like distant memories fading with the dawn. The air grew warmer, losing its nocturnal chill, and the desert, which had been a realm of cool shadows and whispered secrets, slowly began to awaken, its vastness revealing new textures and hues under the strengthening light. The first rays of the sun, a fiery orb of molten gold, finally broke over the distant dunes, casting long, dramatic shadows that stretched across the undulating landscape, transforming the sand into a shimmering tapestry of orange and amber. In the far distance, a faint, dark line appeared on the horizon, growing steadily clearer with each passing moment, the verdant ribbon of vegetation that marked the course of the Euphrates, a stark contrast to the barren expanse they had just traversed. The sight filled Mardakaparadina with a renewed sense of purpose, a quiet determination that settled deep within his spirit, knowing that his journey was nearing its next, crucial stage. The transition from the stark, silent beauty of the desert to the bustling, vibrant life of the riverine plains was a gradual one, a slow unfolding of civilization's embrace. First came the scattered date palm groves, their fronds swaying gently in the morning breeze, then the small, mud-brick dwellings of farmers, their fields of barley and wheat stretching out in neat, irrigated rows, a testament to human labor and the river's generosity. The air grew thick with the smells of damp earth, ripening crops, and the faint, distant scent of wood smoke, a symphony of aromas that spoke of life and sustenance. Soon, they encountered the first signs of human activity, a shepherd tending his flock of fat-tailed sheep, their woolly forms dotting the green landscape like scattered stones, a farmer guiding his ox-drawn plough through a freshly tilled field, the rich, dark earth turning over in fragrant furrows, and then, the sounds of distant voices, the lowing of cattle, and the faint, rhythmic clang of a blacksmith's hammer, all carried on the gentle morning breeze. Mardakaparadina observed these scenes with a keen, discerning eye, understanding that these were the people he sought to reach, the heart of Babylon's enduring strength, whose faith and devotion were as vital as the river itself. As the sun climbed higher, casting its golden light over the fertile plains, the distant, majestic silhouette of Babylon began to emerge on the horizon, a sight that never failed to inspire awe, even in those who had seen it countless times. The towering walls, built of sun-baked brick and reinforced with bitumen, shimmered faintly in the morning light, their sheer scale a testament to the city's power and the king's ambition. Above them, piercing the clear blue sky, rose the unmistakable forms of the Atamananki ziggurat, its 7 tiers reaching for the heavens, and the lush, verdant terraces of the hanging gardens, a green jewel set against the ochre tones of the city. Mardakaparadina felt a tremor of anticipation, a mix of reverence and trepidation, as he gazed upon the city that was both the cradle of his heritage and the stage for his destiny. He knew the challenges that lay ahead, the entrenched power of the king, the skepticism of the priests, and the distractions of a populace accustomed to earthly splendor. Yet, his resolve remained unshaken, fueled by a deep-seated belief in the enduring power of the divine and the resilience of the human spirit. He was a man on a mission, a quiet pilgrim carrying the weight of ancient prophecies, determined to awaken a sleeping spiritual giant. The caravan continued its slow, steady progress, drawing ever closer to the city's outer gates, where the sounds of life grew louder, more insistent, a vibrant tapestry of human endeavor. The air now hummed with the distant clamor of the marketplace, the shouts of vendors, the laughter of children, and the endless, bustling rhythm of a great city awakening to a new day. Mardakaparadina knew that his arrival would be unnoticed, just another small caravan among the many that converged upon Babylon daily, bringing goods and news from across the vast empire. This anonymity was his strength, allowing him to observe, to listen, and to plan his approach with careful deliberation. He pictured the grand Ishtar Gate, with its magnificent glazed brick reliefs of lions, bulls, and dragons, symbols of power and protection, through which he would soon pass, entering the heart of the city. He imagined the labyrinthine streets, the bustling bazaars, the grand temples dedicated to a pantheon of gods, and the countless homes where ordinary Babylonians lived their lives, their hopes and fears not so different from those of his own people. He carried with him the weight of generations, the whispers of ancient wisdom, and the unwavering conviction that his purpose was true, a quiet flame burning brightly in the vastness of his spirit. As the sun reached its zenith, casting a brilliant, almost blinding light upon the fertile plains, the caravan finally approached the outskirts of Babylon, where the first signs of the city's immense infrastructure became apparent: the wide, well-maintained roads, the irrigation canals branching off from the Euphrates, and the numerous caravanserais and way stations that dotted the landscape, catering to the endless flow of merchants and travelers. Mardakaparadina dismounted from his camel, his feet finding the firm earth, a sense of grounding settling within him as he prepared to step into the bustling heart of the Neo-Babylonian Empire. He took a deep, steadying breath, the scent of dust and distant spices filling his lungs, a stark contrast to the clean, crisp air of the desert. His journey across the vast, starlit sands had brought him to this moment, to the threshold of a city that pulsed with life, ambition, and a profound spiritual history. With Shulgi by his side, and the weight of his sacred mission firmly in his heart, Mardakaparadina walked towards the magnificent, imposing walls of Babylon, ready to begin the next chapter of his quiet, determined quest, a quest that sought to reawaken the ancient soul of a city built for eternity. The sun, now high above, cast its golden blessing upon the scene, illuminating the path ahead, a path that promised both challenge and profound discovery within the grand, enduring rhythm of the world. And so the story rests here for now. Thank you for spending this time with Easy Drift Sleep. If these stories help you find rest, a quick subscribe means a new one is always waiting for you. Sleep well. We will see you next time.